patreon.com/TNR.
And our storm restoration roofing sound of the day will be from Hugh Freeze on Peyton Thorne. Greg from Pell City wants to remind you that if you have storm damage, go to the trusted names you've known for years and years. Don't just go with a random call to somebody. Go ahead and make a relationship with Greg from Pell City, and he'll be there for you when you need him for storm restoration roofing. Locally owned for over 20 years. He and his wife right there, lower left, they own the company. They're trusted by insurance agencies, and he'll give you a free no-cost roof inspection right now just to see where your roof is. He fix any problems you may have up there causing leakage, or tell you in 3 or 4 years you may need a new roof, and they call him back. But there's no obligation there. Storm repairs, roof replacements, and all that he offers, including the free no-cost roof inspection. 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Here is Hugh Freeze on Peyton Thorne. We had Peyton earlier, said he and Hugh are okay after the argument. What about Hugh? What does he say?
I couldn't be. I told him after the game, man, I thought not just him, but I thought he laid it on the line for our kids, for our team, for our program. I mean, he was he sacrificed his body. He gave himself up many times to get us first downs. I thought he did a really nice job of. We have an oh crap rule, and that means if my progression is not there pretty quick, then man, let's put our foot in the ground and let's go that way and put us in 2nd and 8. We can live with that. And I thought he really played solid. Obviously, he wishes that he has one throwback, and as everybody does. But man, I thought he really laid it on the line for us and for our team, and it's kind of what we expect out of him at the start of the season, and moving forward is what we'll expect. Yeah, it's hard to say he's not the starter in these kind of games. I think he gives us our best chance to win as long as he keeps taking care of the football like he did.
So he's the starter for sure, going to play Georgia this week as more than a 2-touchdown
By the way, I
underdog.
disagree. Pate was on our show, and he said he would throw it 10 more times. So he doesn't want that one throwback.
Yeah. That was a confusing statement that Peyton made, but he explained it.
Yeah, I think what he meant was if you read what I read, you would make that throw every time. I read what was there. They just had a great defense. Sometimes, by the way, there's a defense that's impossible to beat, just like there's an offense that's impossible to beat.
Great. And somebody has to make a good play to disguise it or just to catch the ball. Peyton Thorne on all of our podcasts, including on YouTube, and some cuts going out from Forrester and Taylor on social media at Next Round Live. Don't forget all the content that's out every day. We appreciate you so much. We don't say it enough. Until next time, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, e.g., that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one, and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
We talk about all the biggest games every Monday at 10:30 with Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND. If it is meaningful at all in college football, we cover it Mondays with Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag on the Next Round.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Follow LT on Twitter at thelancetaylor. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
A lot of NFL football to get to today. So, as always in our show, 365 college football, a little baseball off the top of the show. LTD&B, Tyler and Forrester behind the glass, EG, and of course Tyler Korn out and about. And Taylor Korn is handling. I said Tyler Korn, didn't I?
You did.
Taylor Korn. Yeah, Taylor Korn handling everything on social media at Next Round Live as we get going today. It was a late night for you Braves fans out there. We'll start in baseball quickly. The Braves just ran into Michael King, who was one of the best pitching performances I'd seen against a Braves team in the postseason ever. 12 strikeouts, 5 hits, 0 walks as he goes out there. And I know the Braves are beat up and tired, but you can't take away from what that kid did last night on the hill for the Padres.
No, it was amazing. I mean, 12 Ks, 0 walks. The good news for Braves fans, if you were tired, basically playing 27 innings on opposite coast in roughly 30-hour span, is Michael King made quick work of you. 2 hours, 9 minutes. Fastest postseason game since Maddox shut down the Dodgers in the 1996 NLDS. This is the type of baseball I like.
Yeah, it was easy to watch. I mean, if you had no dog in the fight and weren't worried about your team winning or losing, that game flew by.
Dude, his movement, though. You know, I was talking to a Braves fan yesterday afternoon. Like, I guess you're happy to be here, but at the same time, what is the expectation? Pitching can't hold up. Pitching can't hold up. Well, you know, look, I mean, Snicker knew he had a situation with Sale being out for this series, what they were going to be able to do in game one, but it wasn't necessarily the pitching.
No, it's getting the bats going. You're missing a lot of bats there in Acuna and Riley and those guys as well. But the pitching staff, the bullpen, they came in with a compromised pitching staff without a couple of Cy Young candidates. But the bullpen, when they got in there, did a pretty good job for a few innings, keeping the Braves in the game. But you got to score some runs eventually, and the Braves didn't do that. 7:30 again tonight, ESPN2 facing elimination out in San Diego. A few years ago, this Padres team was remade to try to challenge the Dodgers and to try to be a world champion, and it felt like it had all fallen a little flat, and now all of a sudden it may end up working this year. They are a sexy pick all of a sudden to win it all.
Well, this is when you want to get hot, and that's the way the Padres have been since the break. And you mentioned everything that they built up and everything they put together and went out and got. And Fernando Tatis, who basically ended the game in the first inning with a 2-run shot, that was his first postseason swing in 4 years.
Yeah.
So
that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, but this Padre team, it seemed like they had fallen off, and I agree with you. It seemed like maybe that window was closed, and I've seen plenty of playoff brackets that have the Padres winning the entire thing.
You got to most Braves fans I talk to, and I really think this is true of Braves fans, they're like, man, just being in the postseason after all they've been through, that's just gravy, man.
Yeah, I don't think there's any expectation.
Yeah, I don't think Braves fans are all beat up about this. I don't think there's any expectations at all that they're able to do anything, and anything they do will just be a bonus on what has otherwise been an extremely frustrating, in terms of sports, disastrous season for the Braves.
They were the only team yesterday that were the visitors to lose. Everyone else did not defend the home field. You had the Mets, who also played a doubleheader on Monday in Atlanta, go into Milwaukee and win 8-40. You had Kansas City into Baltimore to win 1-0, and Detroit into Houston to win 3-1. So really it was sort of an upset Tuesday in the baseball playoffs, except in what happened with the Braves out in San Diego. Can any of those teams finish the deal today? Could the Mets, the Royals, and Tigers finish the deal without a deciding game 3 with a little upset?
I think Lugo on the hill for Kansas City, and let's not forget Baltimore really limped down the stretch, and you know, as good as they were first half of the season, they were equally as bad in the second half of the season, as Seth Lugo was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball early on. So I think Kansas City has a fighting shot. Sean Manaea has not been good in the postseason, 0-3. He's got like a 15 ERA in his 3 postseason appearances. So I think that's going to be somewhat of a challenge, but I give those two a shot. I would be really surprised if Detroit sweeps out Houston. 2-0 in Houston.
You wouldn't hate it, though.
Yeah, but I would not hate it at all. You got the screwball performance you wanted from a Cy Young candidate to go out there and pitch 6 perfect innings against the Astros in that building.
It was unbelievable, and we were 2-0 yesterday because we did have the Mets and the Tigers. But Skubal may be the best pitcher in baseball, and we'll talk to Buster Olney in a little bit about that. But he was fantastic. He was banged up. He got hit with a liner in the wrist. He was having cramps on his right side, but just kind of battled through. And, once it got to the ninth, though, and the bases got loaded for Jason Hayward, I was like, damn it, here we go. The Astros are going to find a way to take this incredible start for Skubal off the table, and they're going to find a way to win this game. And he obviously lines out to end the game. But, man, I said this after that line out. Postseason baseball, and as a kid, I watched any baseball I could get because the only thing we got was WOR with the Mets and WGN and WTBS, and you'd see those teams. But any, NBC Friday Night Baseball, I would consume it all the time. Now that I have access to all of it, just not that interested in the regular season, but the postseason is next level.
Yeah, biggest disparity between Major League Baseball regular season to playoff or NBA regular season to NBA playoffs?
I think Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's more games.
It's more. It's just it really is. Every pitch seems so important.
Yeah.
And like when Hayward got up in the count, I think 2-1 yesterday. I was like, damn. I mean, literally every pitch is that important.
Yeah. There's more games in the regular season, so like that baseball regular season just feels so drawn out, even more than the NBA season.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think baseball a lot more intense than the regular season. Sort of a lazy, casual walk. Through the summer.
Baseball's like, when we all go to a baseball game and you go over to Truist and you sit back and literally have a beer and a hot dog and you hear the sounds of the game. I mean, that's a lot of fun. And I give these people credit, the Kelly Hunters and the EGs of the world, and my brother Reed with his Dodgers, to watch 150 plus of the 162. Those are true fans. I can't do it anymore.
I really can't either. Yeah, I mean, I sample a little regular season baseball, but I'm like Lance. Once it gets to the postseason, here's the great thing about the way I do it. Sometimes the postseason, you're like, wow, this guy's really good. And you find, he's had a tremendous season. Well, I haven't watched any of it. It's my introduction to some of these guys.
Yeah, watching Detroit, their starting lineup yesterday offensively, you're like, damn, who are these guys?
I've not seen Skubal throw a ball all year. I know about him. But that was first time I see him, right?
I do think an interesting storyline for the Braves tonight. Will this be Max Fried's last start as an Atlanta Brave?
The way he was treated in his last appearance in Atlanta, and the way he reacted by tipping his cap, leaving the field to the standing ovation, it surely looked like that. So baseball all day again, 1:30 ABC, Detroit and Houston, 3:30 ESPN, Royals and Orioles, 6:30 on ESPN, Mets and Brewers, 7:30 on ESPN2, Padres and Braves, all going today. You can get your plays at lanceslock.com. Lanceslock.com. It's brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, Hemp Hill Services since 1954. Trust the name. Birmingham is trusted for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Okay, so you guys know I love anything new. In fact, as a child, I've told this story a million times. I had my own imaginary professional leagues, including the NBL, the National Basketball League, home of the New York Empires and the Montana Sky, and those great franchises like that. I made up leagues. So I love the creation and the imagination of leagues.
It's where James Sr. got your book smarts, by the way.
I mean, rarely,
some bitch making up leagues.
Rarely do you have a situation where I am anti-something off the get-go, from the jump. Zero interest. It's a non-starter. This will not happen. Jimmy Haslam, the great owner of the Browns and the owner of, Pilot, in the great Pilot stores.
I think he's the Pilot owner.
Yeah, big Tennessee booster.
That's right.
He is backing what is being called a proposal for the College Student Football League. I will give them only this, that they introduced this, leaked this information out to reporters yesterday on the same day that the Big Ten and the SEC folks were meeting in Nashville about the future of the college football playoff and the college landscape. So there was some confusion at first that this was the plan that was coming out of Nashville, until you get into the details and you realize that, hey, this is not coming from Greg Sankey, because this would cost Greg Sankey his job. It's not coming from Tony Petitti. It would cost Tony Petitti his job. There would be no more SEC in the Big Ten. It is the College Student Football League, 72 football-playing power conference teams in one league, divided into 6-team regions, divisions, if you will, like the NFL. Jimmy Haslam and a lot of other folks are in it. There's several problems. The first one is I don't want to be stuck if I'm Alabama and Auburn in the Mid-South division where it's Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee, and Vandy. Of all of them,
hard pass.
That bores the hell out of me.
Yeah. There's no way Alabama and Auburn sign up for that.
Yeah. And in the Midwest, you have Ohio State, while in the Great Lakes, you've got Michigan. So we're going to separate two of the biggest rivals in all of college athletics. No thank you there. And there's a variety of reasons. This is designed to be like the NFL, even the name itself.
Well, I like the Southwest, though.
The College Student Football League.
You think USC can dominate that?
He runs through that every season.
And you have a whole division called the Texas Division. That won't sit well with a lot of people either. Two super conferences. If we go that direction, we go that direction. It feels like it's that anyway with the SEC and the Big Ten. But this is a disaster. This would only be football. They're saying, hey, the conferences would still exist for basketball and all the other sports. Okay, so you're just going to take the biggest money makers and take that out of us, and we're going to let that happen?
Yeah, this is stupid.
It's a non-starter with the SEC and the Big Ten. The imagination is too far-fetched even for me. The other league, known as the Group of 8, you could play your way from the Group of 8 into the Power 12. No, thank you. The whole fact that I could be successful on the field and not successful on the field and flip-flop with somebody, that's bull crap too. I know they do it in Premier League soccer. This ain't Premier League soccer. There's 100 years of tradition involved with that. This was the biggest pile of nothing yesterday from Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah, so two things that turned me off from the jump. I had not seen this, was completely unaware of it until roughly a minute and a half ago. Two things that turn me off from the jump. Number one, they're doing this in October. If they're going to do this, let's talk about it in April and May. If you could drop that in April or May, we would greatly appreciate it. October, bad time for you to drop this, Jimmy. Not you, Jimmy, the other Jimmy. And number two, Alabama and Auburn are in something called the Mid-South region. I have lived here my entire life. I have never once referred to this area of the country as the Mid-South. So I don't even know what Mid-South means.
It was the wrestling reference back in the day, yeah. The Memphis group that came to Birmingham were Mid-South wrestling.
Right, yeah, hard pass. Yeah. Hard pass on all this. I don't like those first two things.
Yeah, I mean, what's crazy, back to your days when you created leagues as a kid, we all, or at least I felt good, there was 28 NFL teams back then. There was 26 Major League Baseball teams. I could tell you all the divisions around college football. We're developing and accelerating so quick on all this realignment and stuff. There's probably going to be a lot of people out there that never really grasp what the Big 12 is right now or the ACC, because it's going to come and go so fast.
That's true, yeah.
You'll forget that it even exists.
Yeah, you're going to be like, damn, SMU and Cal were in the ACC at one time?
Yeah. Josh, a friend of the show, Ush, quickly texts in and says, oh, man, I love the Power 12. Different things for different people. Non-starter will not happen, mainly because the power brokers in college athletics are the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. So you're going to take away the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. They're not going to be the power. People don't give up power in the world.
That is correct, yes.
Power is taken. It's not given up. Yep. They do not give up power. You have to take power. And Jimmy Haslam and them cannot take the power of the SEC. They cannot
declare war.
Yeah. And the Big Ten and the SEC have the power, and they will control the future. And that's just the way the world works.
Yeah. I mean, you would have to go to, the every single Alabama power broker, every single Auburn power broker, convince them the money will be better in this than what you're getting right now from the SEC. Do you know how hard to sell that is?
Oh, it's impossible.
How hard it would be. Jimmy Haslam's a heck of a businessman, obviously. Made a ton of money. How hard a sell would it be just to go to Alabama and Auburn and say, guys, I know the SEC, what do they get a check for every month?
I can't remember now, but it's a lot.
A lot. I know the SEC's cutting you that check. Trust me, my check will be bigger.
Yep.
And if you're these SEC programs, you're like, I am not going to trust you on that. No, we've got a business plan that's working for us right now.
And it keeps growing.
Yeah.
And it keeps growing and growing. So we'll see what came out of Nashville yesterday in that preliminary meeting with the Big Ten and the SEC about the future of the sport. But it's a big non-starter on this well-designed, I'm sure 11-year-old me would have loved it, 72-team power football college Student Football League.
Oh, I hate the name of it, too. That's
Yeah.
the name of it? The College Student Football League?
Yeah.
I mean,
the CSFL.
That's three things I hate about it.
I love the fact that we've expanded the playoff, but, I mean, leave everything the way it was. I liked our Power 5.
Hey, let's get through this first college football 12-team playoff and see how much we like
this
it.
is another example of, like, the immediacy of our society, like how we want everything now. Like, we talk about living in the moment. Very difficult for me to live in the moment. I try, but it's really impossible when you got everything around you that nobody wants to live in the moment.
We'll live in the moment of the upcoming weekend in college football. Our sneaky good games coming up in the next segment. We'll talk about a couple of things going on this weekend first in this segment before we get to our first break. Right after I tell you our guest list and Brownie tells us about Johnston RV Center. Brooks Austin, you know him as the film guy. He's going to be with us at 10 a.m. Central to talk about what he has noticed about a Hugh Freeze offense. So 10 a.m. Central to start hour number 2. Brooks Austin is with us. Buster Olney at 10:30 to talk baseball, day 2 of the playoffs. Buster joins us from San Diego, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, so he'll be with us at 10:30, 8:30 his body clock time. And Chris Doering, SEC Network Florida great, back on the show with us at 11 Central. All that's coming up on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And that is where you can find great deals right now is Johnston RV Center. Go see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. They got great deals right now on all these RVs, including on travel trailers as low as $145 a month. Great deal there. How about you want a fifth wheel? You can save $45,000 or more. They're at Johnston RV Center. They love the United States military. The way we do on this show is an extremely small way of saying thank you. They give you a great discount there for active duty and veterans. You can see all of that, JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Hey, and if you're looking for IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, now weight loss therapy, you can find it from our friends at HydroLife. 2 locations in Birmingham, the original in Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone, also a Tuscaloosa location. While you're in one of those great locations of HydroLife therapy, make sure you mention the next round. They're going to give you 20% off all of those incredible services. You can book your appointment online at hydrolifetherapy.com. You can stop by. They're open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Ask about memberships as well. But very important, mention the next round at HydroLife, 20% off all those great services.
Putting to bed last week before we move on to this week, Brent Pry yesterday, head coach of Virginia Tech, after getting a Monday explanation from the ACC officiating crew on Tuesday, had this to say at his news conference. I think because it is a prepared statement and the way it's said, I don't think he'll get fined by the ACC or anything. But Brent Pry talking about the decision to overturn a call on the field. He said earlier in this soundbite he didn't get an explanation on the field. He didn't get an explanation in the locker room. It wasn't until 1:30 when it was released to the general public that at the same time the fans got the response. He got the same response, so he wanted some more answers. So eventually he got a call from the ACC office about the call that gave Miami the win and took it away from Virginia Tech back on Friday night. Here's Brent Pry.
The words used with me were interpretation and hard to find, which to me, neither one aligns with indisputable. I watched the video that they watched. If it was ruled a catch, I don't see how you overturn it. There's no evidence. If it was ruled not a catch, I don't see how you overturn it. You can't see enough to tell.
I think that's the way we all sort of feel about that, right? He's not wrong.
No, look, it should have never been ruled a touchdown, but once it was, there's no way you can overturn that. I understand how upset he is. That was 1,000% a cash grab by the ACC. ACC 1,000% fixed that game.
And I tweeted that out instantly, and Danny Cannell
of course he did.
Retweets me and quotes me by saying, we just learned from the SEC, man. We just learned from the SEC. So
well, that's the image of the SEC, too, is that they've protected Alabama over all these years.
Yeah, you don't really have to in the SEC because you got somebody to choose from. In the ACC, man, you're not even in October yet, and you've got to find a team that's going to go undefeated possibly.
But I will point out, though, if the ACC was all in, they never would have ruled it a touchdown. So that
does
get forgotten. That's an easy call. No. If you're all in,
You don't tell everybody we're all in.
You don't tell the officials.
so
like
you're
that.
just going to risk that a game.
Well, you never thought it would come down to that.
Well, I
but
know,
once
but
it
if you
comes
put-
down to that, they're sitting in the control center, and they're like, "Damn, our team might lose. Our money team might lose."
On the fly, you can make those decisions, yes. But I'm saying if this were an all-in conspiracy, we're getting Miami in. You never rule it a touchdown on the field.
Yeah, but I'm just saying we're sitting here looking at that little monitor while they were not using the big ones, while we're all squinting at the little monitor. And those two guys, I didn't see anybody else in the room, just those two guys. At some point, Jim turns to Lance and goes, "Man, it's hard to. I don't see anything that's indisputable here. But if we stick with the call on the field, Miami loses the game, and we're in trouble." And you said, "What are we doing?"
Were your thoughts not, both of you guys, when you're sitting there watching, like, okay, there's no way they can overturn this because it's not indisputable.
Also, there's no way he caught it.
But if they do overturn it, it is a complete fix for the ACC.
Yeah.
I mean, those were the only thoughts going through my head because it took a while.
That didn't initially come to my mind as they're reviewing. After the review, I was like, well, it did benefit Miami pretty easily, and there was no evidence that was not a catch.
Hey, let me just sit there. The first time they showed me the command center, and it was just two dudes sitting in there, and I was like, oh, this is not going to go Virginia Tech's way.
It's already been decided.
Because this is taking 7 minutes for two dudes who are sitting there, and you could almost see them making sure that nobody could see their mouths like, hey, dude, if we don't overturn this, Miami's got a loss. I know, but I don't see anything that's indisputable. Me either, but we got to come up with something.
Yeah, I don't think they've got university phones, so I don't think that any of this is public record. I would love to see the text that those guys in the command center were receiving on Friday night.
But, I've always thought it's weird the way we do. And the great Birmingham radio caller, Rich from Hoover, big Tennessee fan, brought this up on our show once. And Rich is right about this. Like, he said, I don't mind having instant replay in football, but it's weird to me that we go in assuming the call is right and have to prove it's wrong.
The old indisputable part.
Right. What if we go in and say, we don't know if the call is right. Let's see on replay if we can find out if it's right. So I ask you two, if that's the way it worked, if they were like, guys, we have got no clue what just happened right here. What do you think the ruling is on video if you do it honestly, if there's not a fix?
Oh, if you do it honestly, I don't think it's a catch.
It's an incomplete pass, isn't it?
I probably would have gone an incomplete pass, but, I mean, you can make a case that he's got control of the ball and his butt's down on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that. Like, if this is 12 jurors and you're sending somebody to death row, like, with that evidence, I don't know if I can gas you.
Yeah.
I mean, we need.
I don't know.
It'll be like, you need to go back and get a plea deal.
Yes.
I don't think we can give him.
I mean, it was a mess on the field.
It was.
I watched
it took 6, 7, 8 minutes.
Oh, it did.
It took for a long, long time.
And unless they had a replay we didn't get, you never could see really the football.
No,
that was the problem.
It did not. They didn't have one, or we'd be seeing it right now for sure.
Oh, yeah. The ACC would have made sure you saw that one.
I just thought it was interesting with Brent Pry there. One other thing to get to in this segment as we continue on when it comes to college football, and then something at the end I want to get to pay tribute to one of the great local sports figures here in the Birmingham metro area who unfortunately passed away yesterday. But I wanted to mention television ratings, Brownie. You're our TV ratings guy. Alabama and Georgia, despite the 30-7 halftime score, which if it had not been 30-7, if it had been a nip and tuck game,
who knows?
Or the whole game, I don't know what number they would have brought in. But I'm reading this was the most watched game on an ESPN platform since 2017.
That is correct, yep.
What was the numbers here?
12 million viewers, 11.99 officially, so you can round up to 12. Once they do all the streaming and all that, it'll be 12 million, which is by far and away the biggest audience of this year. And to this point, anyway, Texas-Michigan was the biggest audience, somewhere around 9 million, so 3 million more than that. And I would think it could end up being the biggest audience of the entire season, in regular season anyway. Normally, you can count on Ohio State and Michigan to be that. This year, maybe, I don't know, more than 12 million for Ohio State, Michigan. If Michigan, I think they may lose Saturday at Washington. Don't know how you feel about that game. Washington's favorite.
Yeah, I like Washington. Washington yet to cover a game, by the way.
Okay, that's a bad trend and/or angle for my thought that they would lose that game. I think Michigan and Michigan's probably got a loss or two left, so that's just not going to have the same feel as it has had before, Michigan, Ohio State. But it is a big rivalry that involves major markets, and it is on Rivalry Saturday right out of the chute.
I don't think anything touches this.
12 million's a lot.
I would hold my water on Alabama, Tennessee, just to see what that turns out.
Well, Georgia, Texas as well.
Is Texas A&M at the end. I mean, there's some potential SEC games that could pass this.
This was perfect storm, though. Really not a great card. Everything lined up. The Kirby Smart element. Kalen DeBoer's first big game, those brands. I think it's going to be difficult to beat that number. If it beats that number, it just shows you how healthy college football is right now.
What does Alabama have between them and Tennessee? Is it just Vandy and South Carolina?
Yes.
I mean, South Carolina is a dangerous team,
yes.
I know.
Vandy at 3:15 this week on the SEC Network. South Carolina is a noon kick on ABC, or an 11 a.m. kick on ABC the week after that. And then there's no start time for Alabama, Tennessee yet. They're holding. I would imagine it's the primetime game. It's reserved for either 2:30 or 7.
It's going to be 6:30 on ABC. Yeah.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's a primetime game. I mean, they've got it
ABC,
reserved right there. Yeah. So I think that's where you'll find that game. That one has potential. If it's a classic like the game was a couple years ago that was so back and forth, up in Neyland, if it's a classic
so
like that.
what time do you guys think that'll
I think it'll be prime
It'll be
time.
a night game, yeah.
So that means Georgia and Texas day game?
That's that same day?
Same day.
Yeah, 2:30, yeah.
I don't know. We were trying to figure this out because I've got some Tennessee fans that want to go up to Knoxville and had such a good time 2 years ago, would love to do it again. But trying to figure out, is it going to be a night game or is it going to be a 2:30?
Well, both. I mean, Alabama and Tennessee are going to be undefeated, and you're going to have number 1 Alabama versus.
So are those really the same day? We know that.
Oh,
sure?
yeah.
Okay, so where do you go on game day at that point? Because I guarantee I guarantee they had penciled in being in Texas.
Yeah, they're going to go to Austin. Unless, is there another time for them to go to Austin this year?
You remember that Texas schedule? Your answer is probably going to be no to that.
I would say, is there another time for them to go to Tennessee this year?
And I'll tell you this, I don't know what the bigger game is, just based on the fact that Georgia has no room for error, really.
Zero chance for them to go to Austin again. After Georgia, their home schedule is Florida and Kentucky.
But you guys are not, I mean, they may already be at Red River coming up next week, which I assume they'll be.
I would think so too, yes, at the Red River.
And I think there's a really good shot they're going to be in College Station if A&M can start to slowly turn this thing around.
Yeah.
So 1 versus 4 or 5 versus 2. That's what we're talking about.
You cannot go wrong. We're going to have an incredible ABC doubleheader.
But I do think the storyline is going to be more about Georgia making that first on-campus appearance in the SEC in Austin.
Now, you can't go wrong there. If you're ESPN, ABC, you almost flip a quarter and just say, hey, we've got them both. And I really, you could do Tennessee, Bama primetime and Georgia, Texas primetime, assuming they're both good games. And the number's not going to be any different. Right? I mean,
no.
That's going to be the same number.
You want to
either
go
way.
both at the same time, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying you could do either one in prime time, and the number's not going to be one bit different as long as it's a good game.
But if you guys had to go gut here, do you think it's Alabama prime time?
They like having number 1.
Well, I mean,
Jim tells you that a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Number 1 is important.
Number 1 on the road.
But then you factor in game day. So can I go game day in Knoxville? And maybe I do that at 11, and we just do the back half of the show inside the stadium, and then Kirk and Chris go upstairs and call the game, and then
at 11 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, don't do that to us.
Well, I think one of them
would be awful.
I think one of them will be 11 o'clock.
No. Both of them. Both of them
way.
have been reserved for 2:30 or
Both
7.
of them have?
Yeah, both of them have been reserved for that too. They're going to be 2:30 and 7.
Yeah, Fox has done us no favors with these 11 o'clock kicks with the big numbers they've got.
That's a little slap at 11 because they do that. They put a good game there at 11 every now and then.
Yeah, they've both been already reserved for that late window.
I don't like having these marquee games at 11. I like having good quality games at 11. I don't know about you guys.
Well, one thing that is at play now is Fox's 11 o'clock schedule has largely sucked this year, so they're not forcing ESPN to put good games there right now. I mean, look at it again this week. They got UCLA at Penn State. Yeah. Even Klatt joked about it on his way out of the show.
Technically, not named brands, but Missouri, Texas A&M is the best matchup in the SEC this weekend.
Oh, it is. That's 11.
That's a great game. A&M a 2-point favorite. Great game.
That's 11 o'clock right out of game day on ABC. Game day in Berkeley, that game at 11 in College Station on ABC. All right, when we come back, we will get into more college football, including our sneaky and dangerous games of the weekend. One more thing in this segment after I remind you about a couple of things. One of them, our friends at New Life Art. Daniel Morris paying tribute to Nick Saban right now and his 6 national championship seasons on the capstone. You can pre-order the print called The Legend right now by going to danielmoreart.com. danielmoreart.com. Nick Saban has signed on to autograph some of the prints They're available when you go to danielmoreart.com. Nick's Kids Foundation benefits from that. Autograph prints are going fast, so go there now, danielmoreart.com. And don't forget, the 2025 calendar is out. Celebrate the Coach Saban era at Alabama with that 2025 calendar. TNR coupon code right there is 20% off with TNR. TNR is the coupon code, gets you 20% off the calendar orders, all right now at danielmoreart.com, and also by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the Next Round sent you. They're going to hook you up. No cost to find out if LASIK is right for you. You will get the no-cost obligation, the scheduled 969-8100, Michelson Laser Vision. For more information, again, ask for Amy. Ask about the pre-inflation pricing. I had the 2200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. 2015 vision, better than 2020. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
First off, just continued thoughts and prayers from Florida all the way up into the Carolinas and East Tennessee and through the state of Georgia. The devastation from that hurricane. The pictures that continue to roll across all of your timelines, still such tragedy in several different places in different styles. That includes in the Carolinas and East Tennessee, where flooding has become just a devastation level. There's so many bodies unaccounted for, and it's just being underreported nationally, partially because of the election cycle we're in and the war that is going on in the Middle East. But our thoughts and prayers to you. If you can help, reach out to organizations like Samaritan's Purse, the Red Cross, and other organizations through your church outreach programs. However you can help out those underreported, devastated areas like in East Tennessee and the Carolinas, you can do that. And here locally, there is a man named Drew Ferguson, who is a longtime sports medicine professor, science guy, athletic trainer with UAB Athletics. Really started I remember him back early Gene Bartow's time as the head coach, and he was the guy who taped the ankles and kept all the great UAB athletes like our buddy Andy Kennedy healthy and on the court. He passed away this week, Drew Ferguson did, and so many people remembering him. As Andy Kennedy writes, Drew was a compassionate caregiver who worked tirelessly to help any and all. If there was ever a book on the life of UAB athletics, Drew would be prominently positioned throughout it. A dear friend and a true Blazer, prayer to his families, and we echo those thoughts right there in loving memory of Drew Ferguson. We're back in a second here on TNR.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Raid, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the Next Round. Crimson Tide Sports Network had a little fun with our buddy Tyler Watts this week.
I saw some of it.
It's really good music. I love the beat there.
You gonna dance for us?
Crimson Tide Sports Network had a little good time with Chris Stewart and Tyler Watts. Chris on the call. This is if you don't know, if you've never watched it on Facebook, they have a shot of the booth where you can see the announcers calling the game. You can hear the broadcast there and then watch Chris and Tyler call the game. Tyler played for Alabama, grew up an Alabama fan, so he's very passionate about that. I'll let Chris Stewart take over the conversation as you watch Tyler get into the win over Georgia.
And those guys that have all worn that uniform have invested so much of themselves and still care so much that it is for us to get to see them still care that much is really cool. It really is. So you mix all those things together. I'm surprised that the headset survived, will still work, and did that night. And man, there were so many moments for us, as friends and fellow broadcasters that we'll remember, that are part of the whole experience. But the game itself is what matters most. And thank goodness that one turned out the way it did.
I cannot imagine if he'd have picked up the headset and had been in 2 pieces, what his expression would have been there as he threw it to the ground there during the Ryan Williams touchdown.
When Chris Fowler was like, let's hear how Chris Stewart called it, and you could hear Chris's call, and then in the background I hear, boom. I'm like, that's Tyler's headset.
Yeah.
I had to see it. I know that's Tyler's headset.
Always a lot of excitement there. Our sneaky good game is what we do on Wednesdays. It's brought to you by our friends at McCurry. McCurry Van and Car Rental, Brown.
When you rent from McCurry. They have got great deals, locations throughout the North Alabama area that can help you. All the cars, vans, and trucks you need. Rent from McCurry. Even big passenger fans, the SUVs. Coleman, 2nd Avenue Northwest. Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. Also Athens, Muscle Shoals, and Huntsville. Rent today, 256-559-1003. Or McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
This weekend's sneaky good game.
All right, Brownie, start us off. Here's the problem with this slate this weekend.
It's not very good.
There's not a lot of obvious. Every game's a sneaky good game.
Yeah.
Every one of them.
Actually, this gets more difficult for me as the season goes because you learn more and more about teams, so fewer things are sneaky, and sometimes fewer things are good. With mine, all you got to do is look at logos, and you know, oh, this is a Big Ten game. The most Big Ten of logos. The block R and the block N. And I've found...
By the way, that scarlet marker is out, right? There's no way there's any red left.
We used a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yes. I have found that I do a lot of sneaky good games on FS1. Fox puts a lot of sneaky good games on FS1. I don't know why I do that. Now, listen, for this to be sneaky good, you got to like defense. There will not be a lot of scoring in this game. Don't go to this game and come back to me Monday and say, Brown, you said Rutgers, Nebraska was sneaky good. That was a 12-10 final. I am warning you right now, this is a low-scoring game. But if you like defense and probably a fast game, Rutgers, Nebraska, 3 o'clock FS1.
It qualifies as sneaky good. I don't know if mine does, but I think there's a chance of a potential closer game than those expect. LT, where are you going sneaky good?
Well, I hope we're not going the same. Can I see your logo real quick? Because you drew.
Oh, I drew in just in the commercial break. It's not very good.
Oh, okay.
It's a sketch artist.
Minimal effort.
Yeah.
I am actually, look, there was so much hype with Tennessee going into Norman. And is that what you got? Yeah. Okay.
How's that sneaky good? It's the biggest game
no,
in the season.
I mean, look, there's a 13.5-point underdog. I mean, nobody's giving Arkansas any shot.
It's a good tee.
But see, that was, thank you, I can draw a tee.
Yeah, that's a good tee.
I think if Jaquindon Jackson can run the football consistently, I think Arkansas can make this a game deep into the fourth quarter. Tennessee hasn't played anyone. Like, I just don't think Oklahoma was trailing Auburn by double digits in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And I was like, they are going to kill me for making the 6:30 ABC game sneaky good. But I think it's sneaky good because you look at it, Tennessee is so good. At one point, I had them as my number one team in the country. And Arkansas is Arkansas. You just think to yourself, that's going to be a blowout in prime time. But I think sneaky good, Arkansas plays them tough.
Well, I think Bobby Petrino has been dissecting this defense that has beaten Chattanooga, NC State, Kent State, and Oklahoma with a quarterback controversy in the middle of the game where you had to pull your starting quarterback. So I do think Bobby Petrino, if Taylor Green doesn't turn the football over, very big key there, I think this could be a really interesting game.
I think the truth is we really are not going to know about Tennessee until they play Alabama. That's just what we've got to accept with the Vols.
Well, we may know a lot about them right here.
Yeah, I mean, if they were to lose to Arkansas,
no. But I'm assuming they're not losing to Arkansas. I mean, a win over Arkansas is not going to change your opinion about Tennessee. Is it? If Tennessee wins this game by 30, it's not going to change your opinion about Tennessee.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, if they win it by 30, it will not. But if they only win it by 4 or 5, it may. I expect this to look a little bit like Tennessee at Oklahoma. Do you?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. I think Arkansas is going to have better quarterback play than Oklahoma had, though.
That's hard to go the other way on that.
And less defense, right?
And less defense, yes.
Yeah. So, but that's...
I think if Arkansas was to win this game, it would be like 38-35.
I saw John Neighbors. You guys know John. He does a show like ours. He left radio and does a multimedia platform show up in Arkansas, and they're doing very, very well with it. And he described it as a pivotal game for Sam Pittman. And just my thought when I read that was, man, if it's a pivotal game for Sam Pittman, then he's in trouble. I don't view this as a pivotal game for him.
Are they a 2-loss or a 1-loss Arkansas team right
now? 2. Remember they lost in double overtime to Oklahoma State.
That's right.
Yeah, they've had some tough losses.
Yeah, some tough losses.
They have. I just don't know. Like, I don't know what the number Sam Pittman needs is. But if you consider this pivotal, like you had the theory he could be fired at some point because if he's
what's his overall record right now?
You have to give me a second.
If it's 500 or below,
where did he start?
The buyout softens. I think he started like 2 games over 500, so I think it's really close.
2 games over?
I think he's 3-2.
Well, they are 3-2, so if he was 2 games over, he's still okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. But where is
But
that?
they play Tennessee. That's probably a loss, so now we've cut it back to 2.
Yeah, just give me...
They host LSU, probably a loss, so now you've cut it to 1. But you get to go to Mississippi State. You could win that game. But then they host Ole Miss, then they host Texas. I mean, it's at some point it's going to get back below 500 overall for him.
So Sam Pittman right now, though, as a head coach at Arkansas, is 26-27.
Oh,
so
he
under.
is right now. Oh, he's under. Then he is in deep.
Yeah.
in
So
deep trouble.
like if he was to get run off this week, this could be it. For
Well, then
Sam
that's
Pittman.
why I could see John describing it as pivotal. If indeed they're just waiting for him to be securely below 500 to reduce that buyout. And by the way, there is a bye week next week.
That's right. That's usually when choices are made.
Petrino takes this thing over. The only thing I would say about it, though, if you're waiting for that, wonder if they beat Tennessee.
That's right. Now you got
Then
trouble.
you're pretty much stuck with him the rest of the
That's
year.
right.
You've got him. I don't know if stuck's the word at that point. It ends up being a pretty good coaching job at that point. I want to do this. Start thinking about. Look at this. Pull out your TV worksheet. And start talking about dangerous games for contenders, playoff contenders on this week's slate. Right after first LT tells you about Milo's. They've got the great Milo's Burger Bar that can come to your office or to tailgates, whatever you need to do, the Milo's Burger Bar. And then I'll tell you about our friends at NASCAR.
I saw all our friends at Milo's at the Cava Heights location yesterday. Some exciting things going on at Milo's that we'll tell you more about. Really want to focus, though, on the catering right now because these options are pretty incredible. Maybe you're not going to a game this weekend. You're having people over to watch Alabama Vanderbilt. You're having people over to watch Auburn, Georgia. Well, if there's one thing better than a Milo's burger, it would be 100 Milo's burgers, which can now easily be done through Milo's Catering. Catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for work or team gatherings, to customized build-your-own burger bars. Hit at any tailgate. Special offer to the next round listeners and viewers. Milo's offering $10 off first-time catering orders this fall. Enter that code, catering10, all caps. That's catering10 when you order Milo's Catering through the Milo's mobile app. To learn more about Milo's catering options, please visit miloshamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Stay saucy.
And our friends at NASCAR, we were over there yesterday. You'll see some content coming out from that a little bit later on today. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com for tickets to the big races this weekend. Campers already out there. They got the track painted, ready to go for what should be another fun playoff weekend at Talladega, the world's fastest speedway. Rodeo happening Friday night after the truck playoff race. Jake Owen in concert, country music star, in concert after the playoff Xfinity race on Saturday night. And then, of course, the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. 877-GO-TO-DEGA for your playoff tickets this weekend. You can get those all the way through the weekend right there at 877-GO-TO-DEGA or TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Dangerous games this weekend. I want to start 2:30 ESPN. Some concern at all for Ole Miss at South Carolina?
It's the first one I was going to. South Carolina's got a good enough defense. It could be a very difficult place to play.
Lenore Sellers coming back.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get to. If he's 100% healthy and he's back, this is a tricky game for Ole Miss because, again, we talked about it yesterday. Ole Miss racked up a lot of numbers against some pretty crappy teams in their pre-conference. And once they got into conference play and played a good SEC defense, they were a totally different football team.
Here's what I would say, though. This is where coaching comes in and more of the mental aspect. You have got the much more talented roster than South Carolina.
But you had a more talented roster in Kentucky, too.
You did, and that's what I'm saying. Look, you got lulled to sleep for whatever reason, but now you're talking about a team that should have lost to Old Dominion. The Kentucky game was kind of the outlier. Now, look, LSU, they had them down to the wire. I don't know how good South Carolina is, probably better than we thought. But this is a game Ole Miss cannot lose.
They cannot lose.
Cannot lose this game.
I mean, it's your season in terms of the playoffs is absolutely over if you lose this one. And that's a lot of pressure to play with it. I don't know how that will affect the Ole Miss players. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, South Carolina, Jim, plays this game a lot looser because of that. I mean, what do they have to win or lose in this,
Ohio State, as they play host to Iowa, maybe it feels a little different if it was at Iowa. I just don't know if this rises to the danger level because of Ohio State's defense. 4 sacks, 3 turnovers last week against Michigan State. The least talked about quality unit in all of college football may be the Buckeyes defense.
Well, nobody talks about the Buckeyes defense. And over there, since the loss that we talk about all the time with Ryan Day and the one that he probably still has nightmares about, the shootout, Georgia, the semifinals of 2022. They've only given up more than 17 points one time. And now you're playing an Iowa offense, which under Tim Lester is much improved with Cade McNamara. By the way, Iowa was the sure underplay since 2021. They've gone under more than any programs in college football. They are 4-0 to the over this year. With all that said, I still don't think Iowa's offense is very good. And maybe this is the coming out party for Ohio State. This is one of those games where everybody's like, damn, maybe Iowa's got enough to scare them. And there's a reason Ohio State is a healthy favorite.
Hey, don't look now, but Iowa's passing offense is not dead last of the Big Ten. Michigan's is actually worse. Now, Michigan's running a Service Academy offense.
Oh, yeah, Michigan's will not improve either.
No, so you can understand why Michigan's is worse. So that's the problem, Jim, for me with Iowa doing anything for Ohio State. They're so one-dimensional, and that one dimension has been good. They're averaging 250 a game on the ground. Can they do that against Ohio State in the horseshoe, though? My gut tells me no.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Any other games that pop for you as a danger game for the ones that are in contention for the playoffs? You mentioned
USC and Minnesota.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday.
Yeah, look, Max Brosmer is not really a good quarterback, but USC, they have been terrible when they've played in the Mountain time zone or the Central time zone or the Eastern time zone. They just haven't been good in these spots, and this is one of those teams in Minnesota that it's good enough defensively, and with Darius Taylor running the football, I still think USC's defense has improved, but they missed some tackles this past Saturday against Wisconsin. The score was very misleading. And if USC plays like they did in the first half in the Coliseum against Wisconsin this past weekend, I think they could lose this game outright. And that would, USC, that's bullet to head done.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right about that.
So you're saying they play a very poor time zone defense?
Yeah. Well, they just play poorly in these time zones.
95 winners last week in our pick three of you that went 3-0 in our play at nextroundlive.com. Nextroundlive.com brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. 95, highest number to date of winners out there. So we've gone 60, 67, 69, 95 the winners there this year so far. On our pick three, we'll crank it up again Thursday afternoon and all into the Friday and to kick time on Saturday at nextroundlive.com, brought to you by our friends at Buffalo Wild Wings. The show also being brought to you by our friends at Inverness Country Club today, LT. Tell us about the fine folks at Inverness.
Yeah, look, if you're looking for that country club membership, this is one of the best values out there. You can find your sense of community at Inverness Country Club. They've got memberships that fit everyone, from the golf membership to the social membership, the sports membership. They've got tennis and pickleball out there. Maybe you relocated to retired. Inverness is a great place to network. Childcare, also a big plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? Whatever your interests are, you can find it at Inverness. They even have a vineyard club. The best days happen there. Take a tour of this unbelievable club today. Call Aaron. Tell her the guys from the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
Hey, listen, when it came time to redo the master bath in the Brown home, my wife, Jennifer, what'd she do on the internet, boys? Do you remember?
Scoured it.
She scoured it. She scoured that internet looking for the best person for the job. She talked to people that had used certain contractors, talked to contractors themselves. She selected Brad Bell, A-plus Tile Home Remodeling, based on recommendations, and I am so glad she did. Brad came in, and one thing he told us is, like, you'll see a lot of these one-hour bathroom remodels. Do not fall for that. He says, in fact, I encourage you to go get a quote from them. That's going to be more than my quote. And a lot of times in one day, they just come in and slap a new shower over the existing shower. And that is not what you want right now at in your house. So A-plus Tile Home Remodeling, make sure that you don't have to deal with that. 205-422-1758 is the number. 205-422-1758. A-plus Tile Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758. A-plus Tile Home Remodeling, Brad Bell, A-plus Tile Home Remodeling, 205-422-1758.
All right, so more college football going as we work our way to the top of the hour here. But there is realignment talk that's going on. The Gonzaga... What now? Did you say something?
No, I didn't.
Okay, Gonzaga is going to the Pac-12. Grand Canyon, we talked about that. Maybe Grand Canyon going to the Pac-12 as well.
Yeah, the Antelopes, I think we did talk about that. I think more so we talked about it at the end of basketball season, maybe. Yeah, they were a tough out this past year.
Yeah, with a huge student body. Look forward to that. UTEP going to the Mountain West. Texas State staying in the Sun Belt. That news yesterday. And again, one quirky little schedule problem that we could be headed to In the American, you would be not a factor in the playoff race or the championship race there in that conference. But if things keep going where they're going right now, doubtful that'll happen, but there's a possibility we could get Army-Navy in the American Athletic Conference Championship game the week before the Army-Navy game.
That's right. So the Army-Navy game is going to be an exhibition game, essentially, moving forward, because it doesn't even count their conference. Yeah, it's even more so of an exhibition game if you've already played a conference championship game
very true.
the week before it.
I don't want to play it on campus for the AAC championship. Let's just go ahead and just skip that week and play it the next week for the conference championship and in East Rutherford or Philadelphia, wherever we end up doing it. So Army-Navy, something to keep an eye on. Can we double dip on the Army-Navy game one year? Your old partner would have loved that because that was his favorite rivalry game.
Fitzy gets the best game in America twice in a row.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan, Ohio State, 11-0, 11-0. Nope.
Iron Bowl.
Army-Navy.
Iron Bowl?
Iron Bowl, no.
No, Army-Navy.
All right, top of the hour here. When we come back, we'll talk to the outspoken Brooks Austin. He's the film guy. He's going to talk to us about Hugh Freeze's offense and a lot more. That's coming up right here on TNR, brought to you by our friends at roback.com. You can jump in with the promo code TNR20, get 20% off right now, 20% off your new order right there. And Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy on game day. It's our friends at Bud Light. We're back in a moment on TNR.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference. Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out. Flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat. And please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Back with you on the Next Round Show 798 today and getting ready for week 6 of college football. Don't forget, covercrimson.com, covercrimson.com, thebarnauburn.com for Alabama and Auburn team sites there that we started. Shows daily, live shows, recorded shows, and premium content starting at $1. Go check them out at covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. New shows up there already this morning. The Pants Store gets you ready for game day. Hitting the road, you want to look the best this weekend if you're heading to Nashville or to Athens, and they're your game day headquarters for Alabama and Auburn polos, hats, and quarter zips. Locations in Huntsville and in Tuscaloosa, in Auburn, the original in Charles Barkley's hometown of Leeds, and a couple here in Birmingham. Horn Legend, Cutter Buck, Antigua, Gentile. They've got all the name brands there. And don't forget for the ladies as well, the rompers and the dresses, free alterations, free gift wrapping. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store.
All right, a lot of people told us we need to get Brooks Alston on. Brooks Alston is the film guy. He is the director of recruiting for the ONSI network. He covers some Georgia as well. But the film breakdowns he does are really, really good in college football. He is with us now on the JohnsTNR VCenter.com hotline for the first time. Welcome in, Brooks. How are you today?
I'm doing well, boys. I'm honestly surprised I wasn't on last week. Massive football game, Georgia, Alabama, no call. But hey, not complaining. We're on this week, so we're happy to be here.
That's
boys.
a failure on my part, Brooks. That was a failure on my part. I'll go ahead and say it. We have so many people that have sent us some work you've done on both Milroe and Auburn, and said you need to get this guy on to talk about it. So let's start with Auburn. And one of the most recent ones you did is kind of dovetailing off what Bo Wallace said about Hugh Freeze. Was his offenses always have a turnover problem. That's one thing for a guy to say that. Is the truth in there for Bo Wallace? Do his offenses have a turnover problem?
Do they ever? I was curious, man. I've been, obviously looking forward to this matchup and preparing for this matchup. And I heard Kirby say something yesterday during the press conference, or maybe it was Monday during the press conference, about tips and overthrows. This offense is really, really great, but they keep turning the ball over. So I'm like, why do they keep turning the ball over? Tips and overthrows, interesting. So I start looking at football, like just thinking about football in general, and knowing that Hugh Freeze's offense are kind of predicated off of RPOs. He does it to an extreme more than most football coaches. That's what you have to stop Auburn with when you go to prepare for them, stopping the RPOs. So I got to thinking, man, RPOs can be really quick decisions. They're predicated off of making sure that we have the right answer to the defense. What they do pre-snap, we're always going to have an answer to. If there's too many bodies in the box, we're going to throw the ball. If there's improper leverage out there, we're going to throw the ball. If they don't have enough bodies in the box, we're going to run the ball, right? So it's all about this pre-snap look. Well, what happens if, the pre-snap look and the post-snap look change? What happens if what they show me pre-snap changes post-snap? Well, turnovers and indecisiveness at the quarterback position can be created quite often. And the history shows, man, this guy has coached 11 years as a head football coach, 9 of which have been in the Power 5. In the Power 5, he's never had a season where his starting quarterback didn't throw at least 13 interceptions. This guy has years of turnovers on his game logs of 29, 27, 28. Like, he's done this over time. And the reason being, a lot of these decisions can be complicated with a little bit of disguise. And most Power 5 defenses in the SEC particularly have the ability to do this. Oklahoma did this exactly to them last week. You guys had Peyton Thorne on. And though that wasn't necessarily an RPO, you can even see the kind of option, like we have an option to do 2 types of things post-snap. You can see that even apply to his intermediate passing game with that, play that Peyton Thorne described where, pre-snap, we've got really, really good inside leverage. And then post-snap, I'm watching to see where he goes, but they changed the picture on me and I'm unable to see that. A lot of that stuff showing up on tape and creating turnovers.
So what you're saying is there's enough track record where this thing's dramatically not going to turn around. We should expect more and more turnovers.
I mean, the track record is what the track record is. When we go 8 of 11 years as a head football coach with having more than 20 turnovers, when we go 10 of 11 years as a head football coach and we fail to win the turnover margin ever, like we do it once, and it's because we have Malik Willis, right? And Malik Willis is a really good football player. We have found out, right? He's winning games and making good decisions on the NFL at this point. So, yeah, when that guy's got NFL caliber quarterback play, he might be able to protect the football and win the turnover margin, but every other year, 10 out of 11, this guy's football teams turn it over more than his defenses, create turnovers. So, yeah, this is a historical problem at this point. The film shows it. The data shows it. Everything about this guy's offense shows you that it's going to be pretty turnover prone. Now, that being said, it's a much higher rate than ever before, right? Not much higher. I mean, he's got years of 29 turnovers, and they're on pace to turn it over 35 times this year. So it's a net delta of 6. It's not a drastic difference. But, the quarterback play hasn't been great. But this guy's quarterback play historically leads to turnovers.
That difference would be 0.5 a game. That's another half an interception a game. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot on average.
Well, half a team turnover.
Yeah.
It's not, that's the other thing. It's not just
interceptions.
Complications at the quarterback position of creating interceptions. These mesh points and elongated mesh points, they can create a lack of security with the ball as well. So they tend to fumble the ball as well. They got years of 29 turnovers with 18 interceptions. It's still putting the football and losing the football on the turf via fumble 11 times.
For the fan that was watching the Georgia-Alabama game the other night, first half, second half, what did you see Georgia do differently that, I'll use your word, changed the picture on Jalen Milroe and the Alabama offense? What changed at halftime? What did Kirby and the guys do?
Yeah, so they bumped alignment pretty drastically. They took nickels and outside linebackers and safeties and kind of bumped them outside of the box to alleviate some of those issues that Milroe was creating with his legs. And the offense by design at Alabama does a really good job of what I call shortening your edges, right? Bringing corners in, bringing outside linebackers in, making them play tight, and then attacking their edges with all the speed and all the ability to, really run number 4 and really use his legs and speed out towards the edge. So I saw an obvious bump in alignment. And obviously, the social media's picked up on the 3-3-5 that Georgia bumped into, using all 3 linebackers, Jalen Walker, C.J. Allen, and Smile Mondon on the field. And that kind of created some problems as well. Offensively, nothing really changed. There wasn't really any adjustments from Georgia or Alabama defensively. The difference in the first half and second half was execution. I thought the first 3 possessions offensively for Georgia, that's some of the worst execution I've seen that football team have in, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years. It was bad. Drops, missed assignments, quarterback, a little bit indecisiveness. It was everything.
Brooks Austin is with us at Brooks Austin BA on Twitter is where you follow him at Brooks Austin BA. He is the film guy, does tremendous breakdowns. Again, you guys are seeing him because you're sending us his stuff. It's just a derelict of our duty not to have him on the show just yet. So we have fixed that today. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Can teams do that to Alabama moving forward, though, would be the question. Like, Georgia didn't necessarily put out the book on how to slow this offense down. Georgia's got elite talent that allows them to do some different things. But B, Alabama was cooperating just a little bit. Am I wrong in this, Brooks? And they were content to maybe try to burn clock. It wasn't necessarily the same exact stuff they were doing in the first half.
I would push back on that.
Okay.
There were 5 possessions in that football game to start the second half, 4 of which they punted on, did Alabama. Of those, there were 17 plays over those 4 possessions that ended in a punt. Of those 4 possessions, I think they started with a pass attempt on 3 of 4. So the idea that they were burning clock, not exactly. And then the other pushback was, well, we didn't deplore Jalen Milroe at that point in the game. Those 4 possessions, 17 plays. He had 5 rushing attempts himself. They dropped him back to pass 8 times. He completed 5 of those 8. In other words, Jalen Milroe accounted for 13 of the 17 offensive plays in those possessions in which they were stagnation. All right. I think as fans and as football observers, we have way too often of a tendency to just go, oh, conservative play calling, as opposed to looking at the other side and saying, oh, no. They made an adjustment. They're causing issues. They're getting you off the field. I think that was what happened in that area of the portion of the football game. And then it boiled down to what it's going to boil down to the rest of the year for anybody playing Alabama. Can you stop the playmakers? You can scheme all you want. You can change everything you want. You can make adjustments mid-game. But it's going to boil down to, can you tackle 4? Can you guard 2? And I'm going to be honest, I don't think anybody can. So you're going to have to consistently do that or magically create turnovers. Ooh, can we pray for the turnover fairy to show up today? Maybe, but this Jalen Milroe guy's got 1 interception in his last 8 starts. So he's progressed. The offense has progressed. This Ryan Williams guy showed up. It's the scariest offense in college football right now. I don't even think there's a discussion.
Yeah, when we talk Kalen DeBoer offenses and go back to the Indiana days with Michael Penix and Jay Kaner at Fresno State, and now what he's got with Jalen Milroe and Nick Sheridan, a first-year play caller, and I know it's his fingerprints, Kalen DeBoer's fingerprints all over it, but what makes his offenses so quarterback-friendly? Because those are different quarterbacks.
So it's the opposite of Hugh Freeze in the sense that Hugh Freeze is trying to get these pre-snap, post-snap looks and get everything that works and have the perfect play called. And, ooh, what happens if the defense changes? Alabama and Kalen DeBoer has winners on both sides, right? They do a lot of duos. They put a lot of 2 guys on one side, 2 guys on the other. If they're not, they're in 3-by-1. And what they're trying to do is give you man beaters on this side, zone beaters on this side. In other words, hey, whatever the defense does, QB, you're going to have an answer. We're going to have an answer for you. All right. On top of that, we've got really, really good football players. So the motions as well really clarify the picture for the quarterback. But that's every offense nowadays. Everybody's using some type of motion. But DeBoer's unique ability to play a pro-style formational offense while also getting stacked releases like Tennessee does without having to play without all this major amounts of space. That's been the most impressive thing and the most translatable thing that I've seen DeBoer do dating back to Indiana, Washington, and now Alabama. The difference with what they're doing at Alabama, and it's the first time in DeBoer's career that I've really studied him and watched him, they have a dual threat quarterback. They got a guy that can use his legs. And in fact, this is something that he hasn't really prioritized on the recruiting trail. You look at the guys that he's landed, right? Michael Penix, got him out of the portal from Indiana, really like what he does. Michael Penix is a processor. He's doing his damage from the pocket. They had an opportunity to go into the transfer portal before he got hired at Alabama. Who did they go get? Will Rogers. Will Rogers and Jalen Milroe could not be any further from the antithesis of one another. You look at Austin Mack. He got him to reclassify to Alabama or to Washington and then transfer him to Alabama. That's 6'6", 230 pocket passer going to do it from the pocket. What he's doing right now with Jalen Milroe is unique even to his own historical context. He is adapting on the fly and creating a new style of offense that he's never really put on tape, which you could imagine as a defensive coordinator preparing for this guy. Like, what else are we going to add to this dude's bag? You know what I mean?
I love the DeBoer Sheridan offense. I loved Sark's offense when he was in Tuscaloosa. I still love it at Texas. And I was a big Lane Kiffin fan play calling in Tuscaloosa too. Why does Lane end up having a game like he had last week? What happens in the Lane offense that gives you 2017 a loss to Kentucky?
First and foremost, Kentucky is going to drag you into deep water and hope you can't hold your breath. And they're going to hold the ball for 38 minutes. And that's what they're going to try to do. The difference in the football games between Georgia and Kentucky are obviously home and away. All right, that's first and foremost. But the real difference and the reason the game plan worked for Kentucky, they scored touchdowns in the red zone. That's what they did. They didn't settle for field goals. They designed winners. Ole Miss gave up tuds. That's what happened in that football game. When I give you 22 minutes of time of possession and I hold the rock for 38, all I got to do is manufacture a couple of stops. That's really all I have to do and manage the explosives. And with a veteran defense like what Kentucky has and the ability to play a multitude of defensive coverages, right? Mix the looks all the time while also not having to dedicate a bunch of bodies to the box to stop the run because they're massive and they're veteran, right? They got a bunch of starts on that front six at Kentucky. So I think it was a lot of, I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't looked at the tape. I watched the game, however, and that's my thought process of Kentucky. You got to get them off the field. If you're going to allow them to just 3 yards in a cloud of dust you to death, you're going to drown in deep water. There's no doubt.
Spectacular stuff, Brooks. Brooks Austin, BA on Twitter, the film guy. What you got coming up this week? Give us some teases. What you got?
Oh, man, we are live on our network over on the Film Guy Network Monday through Thursday, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I've already busted out the film study from first half and second half of that Alabama-Georgia game. I'm trying to get into watching Auburn tape on offense, and it is explosive. Do not get me wrong, but it is hard to watch. It is hard to watch. So we're going to think about doing some film breakdown on that one. And now that I've already teased it, we're probably going to have to.
No, you got to do it now. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
you absolutely have to do it. We'll look for that at Brooks Austin VA. Brooks, thank you so much for the time, man. Pleasure talking to you.
No doubt, boys. We'll see you soon.
All right, man. Take care. Brooks with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show being brought to you by our buddies at Wonder Fan, that unbelievable experience when you go into the stadium, a chance to get you get vouchers for our friends at 47 Brand, Dick's Sporting Goods, and a lot more.
Yeah, you can start earning right when you get in there. Most important thing is you go to the App Store right now and download and search WonderFan, WUNDERFAN. Start being paid for your fan loyalty. WonderFan, it pays to be a fan. It's a one-of-a-kind rewards app where sports fans earn real rewards simply by cheering for your favorite team. All you need to do, again, head to the App Store, download the app WonderFan, check in once you're at the stadium, and let those earnings grow. It's that easy. During each game you attend, you'll earn in the background once you press start. And once you have enough earnings, you can redeem for cash vouchers to your favorite retailers like Dick's, Champion, Lululemon, 47 Brand, and even more. Also, weekly ticket giveaways. You can use your points to enter. New rewards are added weekly. Again, just head to the App Store and search a WonderFan.
Right. And also our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Injuries are part of the game. It's part of life. But Precision Sports Ortho will get you back into the game real quickly. 205-512-3885 or precisionsportsortho.com/2024. You'll be able to find the location nearest you and some of the things they offer you, whether it's in the Birmingham, Central Alabama area, all the way from Jasper to Alabaster and everywhere in between. If you got a tweak, you got a pull, you got a pain, you got a break, they'll diagnose it, they'll treat you, and they'll help you through the entire rehab process until you're back living that 100 life. Orthopedic care, better together. Find your provider today. 205-512-3885 or precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Put in all the tape you want. But the guy that's coming, we're playing host to Alabama this weekend, Diego Pavia, is a one-man band. Sometimes he is faking and carrying 3, 4, 5, 6 guys to a first down. That's who Alabama has to contend with, and he's got a little bit of LT honesty in him when he answers a soundbite at a news conference. Here's Diego getting asked about putting the Missouri loss behind them and getting ready for Alabama. Here's a little Diego Pavia.
After 2 weeks and kind of a brutal loss in Columbia, how eager are you to just get back out there on Saturday?
Yeah, the whole team is fired up to go out there on Saturday. Rando said it best. If you're down about this, then you ain't shit. Really, is what he said. Like get up and get back to it. And so that's what we did. Saturday we came out, we punched each other in the face all day Saturday or Sunday, and then today was a great practice. So we'll be electric and ready to go.
They can't be down about the past. Listen, nobody's thinking Alabama's going to lose this game, but it does set up for a sleepy performance from Alabama coming off of 12 million people, best atmosphere in Bryant-Denny Stadium history, on the road at Sleepy Vandy in a late afternoon kick. And then you've got this freewheeling man of a quarterback that seems to do it all by himself at times.
Yeah, Pavia has been so good. I mean, not only leading the team in rushing with 279 yards and a couple of touchdowns, he has yet to throw a pick. And he's just a team leader. Like, I don't know of a relevant quarterback Vanderbilt has had, and maybe it's going to end up not being relevant because they're probably not going to make a bowl game. But the last quarterback I looked at and I was like, this guy can actually put together an 80-yard drive was Jay Cutler.
That's been a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you just don't see this type of quarterback play at Vanderbilt, and it's pretty amazing they were able to get him through the portal.
He's also one of those guys, though, and it's not just Diego Pavia. Like, he's the guy doing the news conferences and all that. They got him through the portal, and he came with Jerry Hill.
And that was the key. But I still, as good as the win was against Virginia Tech, you look around and you're like, how in the hell did they lose to Georgia State?
And they lost it late. They trailed. They put together a drive. They get the lead back, and then they fall apart. And, I think it was like 30 seconds Georgia State went down the field.
Maybe in 3 games the most exciting team to watch in college football because, week 1 they were dominating Virginia Tech. Yep. They lost the lead. They go to overtime. they come back against Georgia State, lose the lead, lose the game, and then against Missouri, it goes back and forth, another overtime, double overtime game.
Should have won that game too, or could have won that game.
Could have.
Yeah.
They're much better Clark Lee should not be. If they continue to be this competitive, there is no chance he should lose his job.
Speaking of being competitive, Diego Pavia, he's not worried about Vandy teams of the past. He knows this team feels different.
So the last 2 times that Vandy played Alabama, which isn't often due to the schedule, Vandy kind of went in, it's like, oh, this is cool, we're playing the number 1 team, and they lose by 50 plus. How do you, what is your message to the team in terms of, clearly trying to go with a different approach to this?
This is a whole new team. The NIL era is, every team will be different every single year. But we got a team full of dogs who prepare every week like they want to play on Sundays, and so. With that, the only person that knows who's going to win on Saturday is God. So we'll be prepared. We're going to do everything we can to win a football game. We fell just short to the number 6 or 7 team in the nation. So we got to get over that little edge and then start punching some wins here.
So in the sports bar called the Pearly Gates, does God have this on the main screen this weekend?
No. God already knows who wins this one.
Yeah, and he knows Alabama. Look, since 1990, of a road favorite of 14 or more, Alabama has played 48 games. What do you think they are straight up in those 48 games as a 14-plus road favorite?
And since
48,
90?
yeah, since 1990.
I can't remember what the Texas A&M game in College Station.
I think that was the one loss. I was just thinking to myself,
There's
I don't
only
have
one?
the one loss.
39-1?
Yeah, they're 47-1.
So 47-1. Some that jumped to mind that could be that game at South Carolina, the Sandstorm game.
No,
where
they were only like a 6-point favorite.
Oh, really? Boy, I always remember that.
That was a good South Carolina team. I think it was A&M in 2021, I think.
I knew that was a double-digit favorite. I didn't know how big of a double-digit
and against Vanderbilt, they faced them 3 times since 2010, and they won by a combined score of 148-3.
Yeah.
I think this Vanderbilt team is different, but look, they can't. There is no way they can stop this offense.
I do think, getting on the road, if I'm trying to avoid a letdown, I prefer to play on the road than play at home. Like if this were an 11 a.m. Bryant-Denny Stadium kick,
yeah, like this could sound weird. I almost think if Ole Miss would have played in Lexington last week,
I'd kind of
probably win the game.
If this is an 11 a.m. Bryant-Denny Stadium kick, it's going to be a dead crowd. You're going to have to create your own enthusiasm. Vandy's going to feed off that. This is a tougher game. Going on the road, and you'll get there. The Bama players have never played there. They'll get there, and I promise you, they'll look up at the stadium and be like, "Oh my gosh, this feels like a home game." I mean, I don't really see any letdown at all for Alabama in this.
Slices 4 downs in just a second after I remind you our friends at Way to Wellness brings you that opportunity to jumpstart your weight loss. You can do that with a free evaluation, a free consultation right now by going to aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Leslie, in fact, in her board-certified team, she's looking to add to that board-certified team. If you are a dietitian or want to change fields right now, go to the website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com, and check out career opportunities. But if you're looking for weight loss, cholesterol loss, blood pressure under control, you can get that right now from aplanforme.com and Way to Wellness. No cookie cutter plan, everything designed for you. Program overseen by board-certified professionals. And as I said, no contract, no sign-up fees, and that consultation is free. Again, the website is aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. And a great place called Slice for lunch.
Yeah, great place. I was in there Sunday for dinner. Brown's not going to like this. I got me and Maddie got the very veggie.
Oh, what are you doing? No meat, no milk.
It was absolutely
I've
fantastic.
actually had that before, and it's really good.
I mean, the flavors, all of the fresh vegetables. Look, it's just very, very unique pizza, local ingredients, 5 locations, Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
All right, let's start things off with first down right here. LT, what do you have for first down, man?
Are we going to play first down?
I don't know.
First down.
There we go. Playoff win first. Brian Kelly or Marcus Freeman?
Now
remember this, Brian Kelly can obviously get a bye.
He can. Marcus Freeman cannot. But he will get a home game if they're in the playoffs. Rarely would they ever have to go on the road and be in the playoffs. That's such a small needle to thread for them.
I still think they're going to find a loss, and I'm not saying it's USC.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be Army or Navy. I know that sounds crazy.
Well, I tell you what, I am, against my best judgment, starting to buy into this LSU team just a little bit more. And there's so much that tells me not to do that right now, but I'm starting to do it just a little bit. They've played improved football.
Ole Miss, Alabama still on the schedule for LSU. Doesn't feel like either one of them will get one this year.
Yeah, but I'm saying even if Notre Dame gets to the postseason this year, plays first round.
Yeah, they're not going to be the 5 seed. That's
no.
That's the thing. Normally,
they're going to have a really difficult game. So even if they get there, I don't think they win one.
That's what I said. I'm not sure either one of them, even if they get there, win one this year, especially Notre Dame. But I'm still going to go Marcus Freeman. At least he gets a shot this year.
Second down.
Okay, take a look at your rankings. What current top 10 has the best chance of completely being out of the top 25? Now, we do this exercise before the season.
We're late in the year for this.
We're late in the year, but there is one or two.
It's Michigan at 10 for sure. They could drop out of the top 25.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do they drop? If they lose to Washington
they're down
on
in
Saturday,
the 20s at that point, you think?
Yeah.
I mean, they're 10 right now in the AP. Washington is unranked.
And they've got more losses. And I guess if Missouri lost this weekend, there's a chance Missouri.
I still think Missouri could be that team.
Yeah. But I don't think anybody else. I don't think Miami or anyone else can fall off that much.
Yeah.
I mean, if Miami loses in Cal.
Yeah, they're going to drop a good bit. And I think there'll be voters that hold the Virginia Tech finish against them a little bit, too, whether they should or not.
But there's no Clemson on their schedule, and I don't think there's anybody else there.
I haven't figured out my third of the teaser that I will serve up to you on a platter on Saturday.
Or the first.
But I know the first two legs. Ole Miss plus a half and Miami at a pick.
So you
Do you
only
feel
got
good about Miami winning in Berkeley and Ole Miss winning in Columbia?
I don't.
No, not either one of them.
Okay.
No. I mean, those are losable games. But I do think they both win. I would bet on them winning. But it's both losable games. Those are some of the intriguing games of the weekend. But Michigan, if I had to pick one, would be the one that drops out.
Yeah, it's the more obvious one. Because, again, if they lose to Washington comes into the poll, and most voters are going to put Michigan below them, but they don't want Washington too high. So Michigan's going to drop down to the 20s.
And they're going to lose Ohio State. So that's third loss. And then you find one more, 8-4, they're probably out.
Could happen, yeah.
Third down.
Don McLean, 79 years old today. If I asked you, is American Pie the most overrated song of all time?
It grew into one, yeah, because it got played and voted number one greatest song of all time so much. And if you're number one for so long, it can get redundant.
I never liked it.
Don't Stop Believin' is easily the most overrated.
Wow.
Maybe overplayed. You know, it's weird that I'm watching Sopranos for like the fourth time, and I was thinking about that and what David Chase did for that, because I went and saw Journey on that tour, and they had Journey written like the Sopranos logo in black and red, and what that one play of him inserting that into the series finale, what that did for Journey's revival. And I was thinking though, like, would we still, like, we would have still liked that song. It just wouldn't be nearly as played as much as it is.
Yeah, I would say American Pie is certainly more overrated than Don't Stop Believin'.
Yeah, 100%. Most overrated song of all time. It's in the conversation.
It's got to be in the. I mean, I don't know what the other. Like, I didn't Google most overrated song of all time.
That one's in there,
but I bet it pops up.
Yeah.
Fourth down.
Sting is 73 years old today. If I asked you better career, Sting or Buzz Aldrin?
Buzz Aldrin?
Yeah, Aldrin. Excuse me.
I was about to say, you were going to tell me who Buzz
I did
Aldrin was.
the Sting with the buzz. You see what I did there?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So Buzz was the second person on the moon?
He was. Yep. Second of 12, I think, though. So you're in a very exclusive company.
An exclusive company for Sting, going from what was one of the top 2 or 3 bands in the world in the early 80s to having one of the more successful solo careers.
Yeah, I'm going to go Sting is less than Buzz. I'm going to go with Buzz over Sting.
I'm going to go Sting. Just more people could have done what Buzz did than what Sting did.
It's harder to get into that capsule with an atmosphere worth of fuel under your butt fired into the space than it is to get on stage and sing.
And I will point out only 12 people did what Buzz Aldrin did. A lot of people did what Sting did.
Yeah. How many people were in the police, though?
That is a great point. Less than 12, I'm going to assume, Tyler. Yeah.
That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice Today.
Yeah, stop in for a slice and salad. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. For more information, 5 locations, slicebirmingham.com.
Playoff Tuesday yesterday was amazing. We talked to playoff Buster Olney next on the next round.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Raid, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Back with you tonight at 7:30 on ESPN2. The Braves try to stay alive after overcoming so many obstacles just to make the playoffs. And then last night they ran into a buzzsaw of a pitcher and couldn't produce any runs after the long flight to San Diego. Up against the wall tonight, man.
Boy, it is. Buster Olney, you saw him there at the game. He is with us now on the JohnsTNRVCenter.com hotline a day early because he might have travel tomorrow. Buster, first of all, welcome in. Hope you're doing well out in San Diego.
Oh, yeah, doing great. And you're right about the buzzsaw. Michael King was ridiculous last night.
Untouchable, and the home plate umpire was generous in the strike zone, too. I mean, it was both sides, but That game, what did you say the actual time? Well, Buster, you may know.
2:08.
2:08. I mean, that game motored through last night.
Yeah, when you got a pitcher, pitcher on one side, Michael King doing what he's doing, and on the other side, as part of that, you have the Braves, as you mentioned, coming off that crazy doubleheader on Monday, which was one of the most insane days I've ever had since I started covering baseball. I asked Brian Snitker yesterday about, how do you think your team is doing, coming off that flight, and he goes, I think we're okay there. The problem is that, they were so beaten up with their pitching staff. I really do feel like that if you were to give them truth serum, they felt like yesterday was kind of a, if we somehow win this game, great, but we're not counting on it. Like the series for the Braves really begins today with Max Fried on the mound, who, with experience and someone who had dominance in his last start. They hope that, that he can win game 2, and then, they'll be in a better position with the Reynaldo Lopez starting in game 3. But at this point, I also get the sense that, the Braves, I was in the Braves clubhouse the other day after they clinched the playoff spot. There definitely is that feeling of, man, it's amazing that we got to this place considering all the injuries that we've had. And I'm not saying they're satisfied with that, but I'm saying that they're keeping into perspective how many injuries they've taken. Snitker, when the news broke in the middle of that Monday doubleheader about Chris Sale, that he wasn't going to be able to pitch, I went over to Snitker and I asked him what happened. And he looked at me and he goes, how much heartbreak can a team take in one day? And he was sort of referring to the game 1 and the lost leads. But I also think he's talking about the season for the Braves. Like, they have taken blow after blow after blow. And yet, as of today, they're still standing.
If Fried does lose today or the Braves lose game 3, do you think this is Max Fried's last start as an Atlanta Brave?
Absolutely. No question about it. And, because we've seen in the past, when they've had free agents, Dansby Swanson being a great example of this, Alex Anthopoulos, part of the excellence he's had as general manager of the Braves is he does not pay sticker price for anybody. He gets young players, and I'd imagine Spencer Schwellenbach will be the next example of this. They will lock up these guys to long-term contracts at a team-friendly rate. And if he can't get a team-friendly rate, then he just moves on. He's not going to pay top dollar for, a starting pitcher, not at a time when the Giants are going to be looking for starting pitching, the Red Sox are going to be looking for starting pitching, other teams would be willing to spend. I just don't think Alex likes to do that. And by the way, the guy he worked for with the Los Angeles Dodgers, Andrew Freeman, same way. As much as the Dodgers spend, other than the signing of Yoshinobu Yamamoto, they've never really paid sticker price. They get these heavy deferrals in these contracts, and they get guys like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman at bargain rates.
Let's say things go great for the Braves. They win today, they win tomorrow, and they move on to advance. What's the availability of Chris Sale moving forward in the playoffs? What are you hearing?
Snitker told us yesterday that on Monday, and again, I'm having a hard time keeping my days straight because it's been so wacky this week. Monday night, Sale reported to the athletic training staff that was the best he felt. Like, he actually felt better yesterday. But you know what, guys? Until he's actually out on a mound, he probably isn't going to have an idea of how he's going to feel. In his last start in Cincinnati, his velocity was significantly down. The more I hear about this and get more details, I think that he was dealing with this injury all through the season to some degree, and he was able to overcome it. I do wonder, because we haven't really been told what's wrong with his back. They're just saying back problems. As you guys know, that can be a range of things. The big question for me as we move forward is this a disc problem? Because if it is, that is a big problem for the Braves.
ESPN, by big problem, you mean big problem like moving into next season, not just big problem
exactly.
this postseason. Yeah,
those back problems for any player, but for pitchers, especially with his delivery, that would be an issue.
ESPN's Buster Olney with us from San Diego. Braves-Padres tonight, and what could be the final game of the season for that beleaguered Braves team. There were 3, as far as the betting favorites go, Buster, 3 upsets yesterday outside of that Braves-Padres games. Which of the upsets surprised you the most?
The Mets against the Brewers. The Brewers playing at home. The Mets also having that wacky doubleheader, which, Monday, it ended with two teams having champagne celebrations in the same ballpark at the same time. Like, it was wacky. By the end of the day, you had Mets and Braves players sort of interacting, smoking cigars and, sipping on their last bits of champagne and talking about what a crazy day it was. So I thought the Mets, and Luis Severino would struggle with the Brewers, but no, I think they're carrying some momentum. And the Mets are a complete team. We've talked about this in the past. They have good starting pitching. They have, an excellent closer in Edwin Diaz when he's able to throw strikes, and they have some depth in that lineup. But they were exhausted. Like that long day on Monday, I was surprised they came out yesterday and won that game. Brewers are in trouble. There's no doubt about it.
And what a performance, Tariq Skubal making his postseason debut and what he did with the Astros and, was a little nicked up with the wrist and the side yesterday. If I asked you, is he the best current active postseason pitcher right now, either American League or National League?
I think that's absolutely reasonable. And if you said that, I go, yeah, I get it. Like I now, I could make a case for Paul Skeens with his level of dominance. It would depend on how you define that. But Tariq Skubal right now, as the Tigers begin this run through the postseason, the comparison I'm reminded of is with Oral Hershiser 1988, where if you guys remember, he finished that year 59 consecutive scoreless innings. And the Dodgers team was not, and I was a Dodger fan. That team was not a great team. And
Mickey Hatcher
put that team on his back as they went through that postseason. Tariq Skubal could do that. And how cool for A.J. Hinch. I mean, here's the guy who managed the Astros to their first World Series win in 2017. He gets implicated in the sign-stealing scandal. He gets fired. He gets suspended for a year. He did what Pete Rose never did, which is to make good with Major League Baseball. And he comes back, and now he's managing against his old team and can knock them out. And he's got all these young guys, right? I mean, they're the youngest team in baseball. And just in watching them, it reminds me of that 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team, which upset the Soviet Union. And you had Herb Brooks, their coach, going up and down the bench going, play your game, play your game. I can imagine A.J. Hinch doing that with all these young guys as they face the Astros with all that experience.
Speaking of Pete Rose passing this week, we had a discussion about him yesterday on the show. If you're my age, he was the guy you emulated in the backyard when you were playing wiffle ball. We all even pulled out the slip and slides and slid like Pete Rose and tried to do it in Little League, and they told us you had to go feet first, no head first slides, all the Pete Rose rules we had back in the day. A hard guy to describe in the end here. What's your thoughts on Pete Rose?
Love the game as much or more than anybody that we've ever seen. He played more games than anybody, had more at-bats than anybody, had more hits than anybody, and that passion was real. And it's part of the reason why that other players respected him so much. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with Anthony Gwynn, who is Tony Gwynn, the late Hall of Famer's son, and he talked about what a great friendship his father had with Pete Rose because they could talk about hitting. And that was something that other players, it just exuded, that joy came off to other players. But there's also obviously the other part of the conversation about, his suspension, his ban, the Hall of Fame. And I saw so many people on social media saying partly he died because of a broken heart. And I shake my head and said, that is not true. Major League Baseball, ex-teammates like Mike Schmidt worked like crazy behind the scenes to get Pete Rose back in the umbrella. Bud Selig absolutely was open to it, guys. And at every turn, Pete was his own worst enemy. And he sabotaged every opportunity when they would say, hey, you can come back, but just promise us you'll never work in a casino. And then he would continue. They would say, hey, come back to Cooperstown. As a whole, we'll work that all out, but here's some rules you got to go by. And he just would never follow them. He always had the opportunity to do that, which is why I think so many of his friends would tell you Pete Rose was sort of that classic person of, man, really good guy, but why did he do this? And why did he do that? And why did he handle this way? He was his own worst enemy throughout his life.
If you like offensive baseball, you did not like what you saw in Camden Yards yesterday. You're talking about the ultimate manufactured run in the sixth for Kansas City, and it was all Bobby Witt Jr. If I ask you, outside of Ohtani right now, is the best overall player in baseball in the American League right now Bobby Witt Jr.?
I would say that's Aaron Judge. Coming off this year, his adjusted OPS plus, I think, was at 223, a number that Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, and Joe DiMaggio never hit. Okay, that's how good Judge is right now. However, I'll frame your question and answer it this way. A few weeks ago, we were given sort of an NCAA style bracket to pick the most exciting player in baseball, and the guy who won that was Bobby Witt Jr. And that I completely he to me is the most exciting player to watch because of the incredible range of skills. Batting title winner, he can hit for power, he can steal bases, and oh, by the way, he's in the discussion for one of the 3 best defensive shortstops in baseball, and he has the it. We saw that at the home run derby this year. He just has so much joy. I mean, we were just talking about Pete Rose and how he played. That's Bobby Witt Jr. He loves to play, and it's absolutely a crossroad moment for the Royals franchise that they were able to lock him up to a long-term deal. Because if you're a Royals fan, you're going to watch this guy for the next 15 years.
All right, so 7:30 tonight, ESPN2, you'll see Buster and the crew there in San Diego as Max Fried takes the hill to try to keep the Braves season alive. Thank you very much for the time, Buster. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. Yeah, Max Fried pitching against the team that originally drafted him. It'll be a fun game.
And probably a future division rival once the Dodgers get Max Fried, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably it. Thank you, Buster. Take care. Buster with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Yeah, give me the buy bookie odds tonight, Brownie, on the Braves and these other big games today.
Do you? I wanted to ask Lance one quick question. Do you hate the Padres as an end of vision? You don't hate them like you hate the Giants, do you?
But with Machado and Tatis, a few years ago, that team that knocked the Dodgers out of the postseason, they were a very obnoxious team.
I was trying to get your temperature on.
Not like the Giants, not like the Braves.
Well, you want money line? Is that what you want?
Yeah. Anything on mybookie.ag.
I do have a play on this game tonight, by the way.
On Braves?
Yeah. Will we see plenty of people cheering for the Braves at Odie's tonight?
We will, absolutely. The Padres are a minus 118 favorite. Braves plus 100. So check that out, Lance's Lock. Detroit and Houston. Houston is a minus 169 favorite. Baltimore, a minus 143 favorite at home against Kansas City. And the Brewers, a minus 119 favorite at home against the Mets. Must win for all those teams that are home favorites. They all lost yesterday. MyBookie.ag, you can play all those games. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. You make your initial deposit. They double it when you use code next round. All one word, double deposit bonus. You're able to play with that right away, win once with it. It is yours and yours forever. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round.
And since you brought it up, you got Odie's tonight as well. Tell us about them.
Odie's team trivia tonight. Me and Brown will be out there with Will Haver. Looking forward to that. We'll start up right around 8 o'clock. Get there a little early. Enjoy some great food from Rodney Davis. Been doing it for 35 years. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, including that Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Come see us tonight. 2 locations of Odie's. The original will be at tonight at Crestline. Also, Edgewood.
All right. You get classic sound bites very rarely in news conferences, but you had one yesterday from Chip Kelly, who's now the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You forget a little bit that he's the OC there right now because their schedule's been so bad.
Right, that's it. No high-profile games, really.
Yeah, it's coming eventually for Ohio State. Not as many as if you were in the SEC, but NBC4 Columbus, the buck stops here, News Center there, at the news conference yesterday, and Chip gets asked the difference between being a head coach and the OC as they're 5 weeks into the season. Here's his big takeaway.
Was there anything you'd like better, being an offensive coordinator, that surprised you as opposed to being a head coach?
You can go to the bathroom between series if you have to. That's about the only difference, I think. It's always kind of tough. Coach Coop can tell you that on the sideline. It'd be really difficult to say, hey, I'm going to leave, you know what I mean? But there's a bathroom upstairs by the booth, so if need be.
That's pretty funny. I mean, we're seeing, I think, in real time why he made this move. I mean, UCLA is in awful shape. And I think he knew moving forward, going to the Big Ten is not going to benefit them like it does everybody else.
Do you think, though, he did that with the plan of not riding out and looking embarrassed at UCLA, or did he do it to go to Ohio State and win games so he can be a head coach again somewhere else?
I don't know. Maybe he just loves offense. You know, he's been a high-profile head coach, has played for a national championship at Oregon. He's been in the NFL. He's been a postseason coach in the NFL, and now reuniting with his former quarterback in Ryan Day, who he coached, and now coaching under him. This could be for the love of the game where you're making 7 figures and you've got a chance to win championships.
Very debate style, though. I'm going to hold you to an answer here. Can you, a gut feeling, do you think
I do not think he will be a head coach again.
You don't think he'll be a head coach again?
Power 5?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he would leave Ohio State just to be a head coach. It's going to take a Power 5
Yeah,
job.
I think this is going to work out, too. You know, a lot of this comes down to Will Howard, but
well, here's a scenario for you, and I don't know how likely this is. Ryan Day has been mentioned for NFL jobs.
He has.
If this offense continues to improve, and I mean, they're averaging 48 points per game, but as we said, they're not playing anybody. If it's a good offense and Ryan Day leaves for the NFL, would you promote Chip Kelly?
Hey, maybe.
I don't know that it's a slam dunk, though. I mean, you don't either. You said maybe. Jim, I don't think it's a slam dunk. Do you?
No, but that's what they've done. They promoted Ryan Day to replace Urban Meyer. So
yeah.
But, you know, Ryan Day is still a lot younger. I don't know if Ohio State fans would be excited. And I'll say this, even if they end up scoring 50-plus points and winning a national championship, I don't know how much credit Chip Kelly's going to get.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing. Ryan Day was fresh, up-and-coming, exciting coach. Head coach Chip Kelly's damaged goods right now. I mean, I don't know that offensive coach Chip Kelly is damaged goods. We'll see. But head coach Chip Kelly is. What excites you about what he's done as a head coach lately?
I do think he was winning 8 games consistently at UCLA, or at least in the final couple of seasons. And 8 games at UCLA is maybe like 10 at some programs.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess you say, especially looking at what UCLA is now, you say he did an okay job there. Maybe he didn't do an awful job there.
He just doesn't look as innovative as he did 15 years ago. You know, that offense, it was unstoppable for a time at Oregon, and it was his fingerprints were all over it.
And it feels like now the rest of college football is doing a lot of the same stuff he was doing at Oregon that made him such an innovator.
Chris Doering coming up at the top of the hour. Our Gray's Tree cleaning up dead wood moment of the day. These guys can admit to any mistakes they had if they want. I called Tyler Korn earlier. Taylor Korn, obviously. But Dan Campbell forgot to give the game ball to Jared Goff on Sunday after going, or actually it was Monday night, after going perfect 18 of 18, setting an NFL record for perfection, and he didn't get the game ball afterwards. Dan Campbell saying yesterday he feels awful that he made that mistake in the post-game locker room. He's trying to clean up deadwood this week. You can from your property as well with our friends at Gray's Tree Service.
Yeah, I had the guys out a couple of months ago. John, Mark, fantastic staff, family-owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Look around, survey it. If you've got some of these dead trees out there, maybe you don't even know they're dead. They are a hindrance, though. They can knock down structures. They can harm family and pets. Again, family-owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen your trees and plants. Again, I had them out just a couple of months ago. Fantastic work. Call 205-281-6100. You can scan that QR code. You can also visit graystree.com. Very important. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. Trusted by nearly every golf course in town of the Birmingham Zoo. No competition. It's our friends at Gray's Tree.
And our friends with Urology Centers of Alabama as well. Guys, health's so important. If you start to suffer from any illness, you know how it can change your life or a loved one. Stay on top of that health with Urology Centers of Alabama. Find a location near you by calling the number on your screen, 205-930-0920, 930-0920. Visit urologycentersalabama.com. 16 locations across Alabama, 35 urologists on hand to help you out, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones and everything in between, and vasectomies as well if it's that time of life for you to wave the white flag. Visit urologycentersalabama.com to schedule that appointment.
The mybookie.ag chat room had some thoughts on Chip Kelly. People are saying, could he be the next Jace? Could he be the next head coach at Auburn or Florida? I don't think, again, I just think.
Well, you know, he was a hot name for Florida at one particular time.
Yeah.
Look, Auburn's not even close to making a move.
No.
Florida, I mean, I guess.
Well, I don't know. If I'm a Florida fan, I just don't know how that hits me.
Yeah, but don't you want to go back to maybe a proven head coaches, non-proven head coaches, and Will Muschamp and
Ron Zook, Jim McElwain.
Yeah, Zook was more proven.
Yeah,
but McElwain.
Proven head
what you've
coach
got now with Billy Napier.
Proven head coach and Dan Mullen, I had to fire too. But you're right, Urban has been better.
If they could go back, they would have never fired Dan Mullen.
I would tend to agree.
They
with
would
you.
not fire Dan Mullen.
That's where a lot of this started. I would agree completely. A lot of people saying Chip Kelly in the MyBookie.ag chat room just doesn't like to recruit. And that's one reason he jumped out of a head coaching job into an OC job.
Why he went to the NFL to begin with.
Yeah. So that's the last guy I won't be my head coach. In this era is a guy that doesn't want to recruit. I mean, that is you. Do you know how good you have to be in X's and O's if you're just like, I'm going to give half effort recruiting?
Is recruiting going to get to a point, though, when you have a general manager in place and you've got a collective with X amount of dollars, and you can actually have agents call and say, hey, we're going to give you $2 million to come play here in Florida.
Maybe.
So, I don't want to take the importance away right now, but I really wouldn't be surprised if so many other people are involved with the lack of really regulation and rules out there.
Speaking of $2 million, not quite that, but the On3 Sports, Forrester, the On3 Sports valuation of Ryan Williams changed over the weekend. And I think they're just now getting up to what the market value was for Ryan Williams. I think they had him undervalued at $732,000. Keep in mind the names that were recruiting Ryan Williams after remember, long-time Alabama commitment, opened his recruitment up hours. I wrote it down. It was 4:07 when Nick Saban's announcement was official, and by 5:47, he had already announced his decommitment from Alabama after being with them for almost 18 months. So in less than 2 hours, he had decommitted from Alabama. So in that brief moment that he was on the market again, you mean to tell me that there wasn't a $1.5 million offer already coming from Texas A&M, from Georgia, from Auburn, from Alabama to get him back in Tuscaloosa? I think On3's just catching up to the Ryan Williams valuation.
I would say this: if I could get Ryan Williams for $1.5 million, this kid is one of the best receivers in America, and he's only a freshman. I won't tell you how old he is. You'll have to go find that for yourself.
Yeah, it's tough to find.
But he is going to only improve from here. I would, if you could get him for $1.5 million a year right now. Yeah, that's a steal.
I think there are teams that would give him $3 million.
Probably
I really do.
so. He's that big of a game changer.
Hence what I said, where I think they're just now catching up to his valuation there. He was on the market for a brief moment. A wonderful story written by Nick Kelly at AL.com today about the recruitment, the re-recruitment, who really was second place in the recruitment process behind Alabama, how important Jamarcus Shepard was on making it the commitment again to Alabama for Ryan Williams. Just a fascinating read there from Nick Kelly at AL.com today. One more thing to get to before we get to the top of the hour, and Chris Doering coming up on the other side right after LT tells us about our friends at Hemp Hill.
Trust the name. Birmingham is trusted for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues since 1954. Whether it's any of those in your home or business, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Big rivalry game. Auburn in Georgia, in Athens to play Georgia. Kirby Smart on what he sees in this Auburn football team right now.
I visited with a lot of guys, and they've been in good spirits. They're excited for an opportunity to go play. They know what's at stake with Auburn. It's a huge, historic rivalry. This game has always been that way. And then, for me, when you turn the tape on and you watch their defense and their offense, outside of turnovers, got a really good football team. They've turned the ball over, and they've made that very clear that it's not. Look, they got good players. They got good wideouts, quarterbacks playing better and better, and they've gone back and forth between them. But the focus for us is on them because I know what they can do. I know what kind of coach Hugh Freeze is. I know what kind of offense they got. I know their defensive coordinator. They're going to have a good team and be ready to play.
And remember, they took them deep into the fourth quarter last year at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Go and see Brooks Austin's breakdown of Hugh Freeze's offense and what he sees as the problem earlier in the show, podcasting wherever you get our podcast. I also talked to Buster Olney already. When we come back, it's Chris Doering on the other side right here on The Next Round.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Coolray. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. Join me and CBS sports analyst Brandon Marcello for the Middle Eight each Monday at 8 a.m. as we look back at the weekend of college football from the SEC to the top 25 of the college football playoff. It's the Middle Eight, presented by MyBookie.ag, code Next Round.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Final hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champy'schicken.com. Highway 119 in Alabaster. Swing by there and pick up the lunch today. Just opened up about 2 minutes ago. Sterling and the crew for over a decade at the same location. That just tells you the great success they have. Brined overnight Southern Fried Chicken, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's a fantastic lunch destination and perfect for your tailgates. champy'schicken.com.
Hey, anybody got the weather in Gainesville?
I'm going to assume it's pretty good. My man looks like he's about to hit the Clevelander in South Beach.
I can tell you, sun's out because guns are out. There he is. He's Chris Doering. What's up, Doering?
But what would you expect, man? I feel like I'd disappoint if I didn't come with at least the tank, if not the topless, bro.
We love it. We've seen you topless before in public. Hey, so I brought this up earlier, and I don't know where you fall on this. I mean, obviously, the Billy Napier era has not been great. He's, I think, winning 44.8% of his games, which is the fourth worst percentage in Florida history, and the worst since like 1945 or something. But if you ask Florida fans, truth serum, do you think they would go back and say we should have never fired Dan Mullen?
Golly, that's a tough question because I think there was something clearly wrong with what was happening at the end of the Mullen tenure as well. So I think maybe the mistake was not expanding the search a little bit more. And even that, I mean, Billy Napier was the hot name out there. I think one of the interesting things as you look back was that LSU, with Billy Napier right under their nose at Louisiana Lafayette, chose to go in a very different direction. Florida's always kind of had the idea of, hey, let's find the next young up-and-comer that we can bring on and turn into a superstar that'll, grow with the program for a long time. That was the case, even though Coach Spurrier was a Florida grad. He was at Duke before we got him here. You look at Billy Donovan, we got him from Marshall. Look at Coach O'Sullivan, got him as a pitching coach up in Clemson. So that's really been the recipe for success, albeit it has not necessarily led to success in recent football hires with, dating back to Will Muschamp and what went on with I'm going blank on the
McElwain.
But McElwain, I was thinking of the Shark situation.
Yep.
But all of those type of hires just haven't really paid dividends in the last decade or so.
So your thoughts when Alabama scored that fourth touchdown in the first 18 minutes to go up 28-0. I know what I was saying out loud. What were you saying out loud?
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I thought Alabama would win the game. I by no means thought they would win it in a dominant fashion. I didn't think they'd come out and be as efficient as they were in their first four possessions, 28 points and 23 plays. Just incredible display of offensive efficiency. But you know what? Really, it's the whole script seems unreasonable to believe. If you'd have told me Alabama won by a touchdown, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right to me. And then, you tell me they get up by 4 touchdowns and squander that lead. And then ultimately Georgia takes the lead late before Ryan Williams catches his touchdown. It just seems too good to even believe from Hollywood standpoint. So I look at it as there's a lot to learn for both of these teams. I think they're both very good. I think they both have flaws that they need to correct. But it lived up to every bit of the billing that we had, dating back to the offseason.
Chris Doering, SEC Network, with us at Chris Doering on Twitter is where you can follow him. You see him on the SEC Network, hear him on Sirius XM. When you played the position, obviously, in the SEC and the NFL, when you look at Ryan Williams doing what he's doing as a freshman, what most jumps out at you? I mean, obviously, it's dazzling, but you look at it from a receiver's perspective. What most jumps out at you?
I think I look at body control. Multiple times on Saturday night, he had instances where the concentration on the football, tracking the ball. Like a lot of times you don't see fast guys that are able to track the football as well as what Ryan Williams does. I thought he did a nice job of that. Certainly the concentration, whether it was the tip ball and the post route that he, spun around and caught, or the underthrow from Milroe that he had to come back for. Made a great catch, somehow stayed in bounds, pirouetted, made 2 guys run into each other. Like just a combination of body control at such a young age, I think is the thing that I am most kind of jealous of in watching him play the position.
So at 30-7, I think most people were like, damn, we got some concern from Georgia. And look, and I know the game's played differently in the final 30 minutes because you've got that lead. But how concerned are you with Georgia with what they've got left on this schedule, having to go to Texas and to Oxford, and they've still got Tennessee there?
Yeah, no, I'm very concerned. And my concern began back against Kentucky. I mean, you saw issues on the offensive line in terms of blocking assignments. certainly the perimeter. That was one of the things that Alabama did really well, particularly in the first quarter, was blocking on the perimeter. That's why they had all the success they did on the outside. But Georgia doesn't really, you date back to the Kentucky game, a ton of missed blocks on wide receiver screens. And the way you turn, runs into explosive touchdown carries is by having receivers that are willing to block on the outside. So I need to see more from them there. I think I mentioned 4 stats the other day, guys. 4 stats you don't see Georgia typically on the losing end of. First of all, sacks, 3 for Alabama, none for Georgia. So not only they're not able to protect, they don't get to Milroe. 4 turnovers to 1, -3 in the turnover margin is not something we typically see from Georgia. 173 rushing yards to just 80 for Georgia. They're not ever outrushed. I mean, they're a team that prides themselves on being able to run the football. And then the most worrisome, I think, 10 explosive pass plays of 15 yards or more. That, to me, is what I worry about with those teams you mentioned on the schedule. Texas, we know they have a dynamic group of receivers. Tennessee can certainly throw the ball around the yard. Ole Miss can, despite looking bad on Saturday. So I honestly believe – I said it before the game on Friday. I said this team has a much more – high likelihood of being 9-3 than they do 12-0, and certainly they're one loss towards that right now.
Give me the concern level for Ole Miss after what happened to them in Oxford.
I think it's pretty high as well. I mean, Kentucky scored 20 points and rushed for about 83 yards, and still were able to win the football game. So I don't know if it's some specific concern that I have as much as it is the overall toughness, the killer instinct. You go out there on the first possession and go right down the field. It looks like you're playing, your previous 4 opponents, and then they bog down on offense. And Lane Kiffin said it best. Like, you have to have a kill mindset. Championship teams put teams away. Championship teams find ways to win when they're not playing their best. Offense had a chance to salt the game away in a 4-minute situation. Defense has a chance to get off the field on 4th and 7. Special teams, you miss a field goal to tie to go to overtime. And so I just wonder if this team has that killer instinct. They got the flash, but I wonder if they have the substance and the mental toughness to run through now a schedule that leaves you very little margin for error. And let's be honest, there's some tough games that remain for them as well. I don't think we gave them as much credit for how difficult the schedule was once they got into October.
Tennessee is one of those teams. Chris Doering is with us from the SEC Network, and I don't know, Doering, that we'll know about Tennessee until they play Alabama. Right over there on Dunaway's whiteboard, his sneaky good game, and Lance agreed, is Tennessee at Arkansas. This is no fault of Tennessee's. They keep beating teams, and then the teams show that they weren't very good, right? I mean,
yeah.
They beat NC State. NC State just hasn't been great. Tennessee beat them the way they should. They go to Oklahoma. That was an impressive win. Oklahoma, if they don't get a miracle pick 6, they lose at Auburn. It's not Tennessee's fault. I'm not blaming them. I just don't know who they have played, and we may not know until they play Alabama, unless you think Dunaway's whiteboard is showing us something right there.
I would believe that might be a sneaky good game. That is in Fayetteville, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas is one that has disappointed me to some degree. They're a couple plays away from being undefeated right now, and I love the excitement of watching the Taylor Green experience, albeit scary at times. I agree with you on Tennessee. I do believe in Tennessee's defense. I think Tennessee's defense is much improved. They got a bunch of dudes up front. But as it relates to the offense, I think they did become a little more conservative against Oklahoma because they didn't need to do much because Oklahoma's offense wasn't going to score anyway. But they didn't run the ball very well against Oklahoma, and I think you look at the teams that they have. Georgia and Alabama certainly are going to give them difficult times running the football. So I just go back to what I've seen in years past. The way you beat Tennessee is by being extremely physical with them, particularly up the middle and on the outside with their receivers playing more press coverage. Georgia and Alabama can do that to Tennessee. So I'm anxious to see. And I think Travis Williams has done a nice job at Arkansas. So I'll agree with Jim. I think that's a sneaky good game there coming up in Fayetteville.
Okay, Doering. Colorado completely beats the brakes off of UCF in the bounce house. And now they come into the Swamp, and they're a slight favorite over the Gators. First of all, how do you see the game playing out? And if you're Napier, what do you do with the quarterback situation moving forward?
How embarrassing is it, first and foremost, that Florida is a home underdog in the swamp to UCF?
It's pretty bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah. It's hard for me to fathom. Hard for me to swallow every Sunday when I go through my power rankings and have Florida at 15, only behind the train wreck that is Mississippi State right now. But I guess a little bit of the luster has coming off of Gus Malzahn's team there after losing to Colorado the way that they did. Everybody was all up in arms during the bye week about how good of a rushing team UCF was, being number one in the country before the Colorado game, and how bad Florida has been defending the run. But you guys tell me, what is their identity on offense or on defense? I don't think there's anything you necessarily hang your hat on and feel really good about. I'll say this though, Lance, I'm a Graham Mertz guy. I thought that the thing heading into the season, it was well handled by Coach Napier, and that this is Graham Mertz's team. We're going to give DJ Lagway a chance to learn from Graham Mertz, which both DJ and his father were very grateful for. But then Graham played terrible against Miami, as did everybody else. So you go ahead and decide you're going to listen to the fan base. After the Samford game, that's like playing well, no offense. I know you guys are in Alabama. That's not like playing an SEC defense. But I'll say this: the idea that you're going to switch quarterbacks on every single possession is just ridiculous. In that Texas A&M game, Graham Mertz took you on a 75-play touchdown drive, the only drive you had rhythm in, and then you put DJ Lagway back in and you go 3 and out. DJ Lagway is going to be a great quarterback, but he needs to wait like Arch Manning waited his first year, like Nico Iamaleava waited his first year. Learn from somebody that's a veteran, and no better person to learn from than Graham Mertz. I thought they were better against Mississippi State, but still inserted DJ just to insert him. I think if you have something specific that you think he can bring a wrinkle to, I'm good with it. But Graham, by far, is the leader on this team and the best quarterback on the roster.
What a true professional. A teal tank top rolling off Nico. That was kind of a flex in itself.
That's right.
Just kind of jabbing it in there.
He didn't have to bring him up. He just did it so he could say it, yeah.
Billy Napier's trying to build it like Saban was building it in Tuscaloosa, even using the word process. But I was poor growing up. That's like Coke and Shasta to me so far. It's not the same. They're trying to be the same, not the same. Hey, when you just let's go back to Ryan Williams for a second. Can you just that play at the end? Because I've seen you dance.
Oh, Dory's got those
in
moves.
Nashville. I mean, the moves that Ryan Williams had. Is there ballet in his background? Is he? I mean, that stop to make the Georgia players collide is a guy who did it at a high level. What'd you think of the run after the catch?
I never did that. I'll tell you what, it did remind me a little bit of Ike Hilliard. Remember in the national championship game against Florida State where he put the foot in the ground and the two defenders ran into each other? Again, the body control, the ability to cut on a dime. And this guy's only going to get better. He's only going to get stronger. He's only going to get faster. He's only going to get more coordinated. He's only going to learn how to run routes better. I still think that that's probably where you're going to see the most improvement over the next couple of years is his understanding of the technical details of route running and setting guys up and using leverage and stuff. So, it's amazing to watch, and I think everybody's tired of hearing, wow, he's only 17. But the fact that he's only 17 and he won't even be 18 until February is even crazier.
All right, he is Chris Doering, SEC Network. At Chris Doering on Twitter is where you follow him. You see him on the SEC Network, hear him on Sirius XM. Thank you very much for the time, Doering. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, appreciate you, boys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man, be good. Doering with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, did we all agree that Caleb Downs, as a true freshman, was the best player on Alabama's roster last year?
He was, yes.
Yep.
I mean,
it's hard to say with Milroe.
I know, with Milroe so good.
Yeah, it's hard
so
to
is
say.
it Milroe or is it Ryan Williams right now?
I mean, and then you've got, how good, how do you equate offensive linemen in that? Like Booker's going to be an NFL guy. I don't think he's to Milroe or Ryan Williams level, but.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you could represent one of these guys for the rest of their career.
I would go Milroe, quarterback money.
Yeah, I would tell you it's got to be Milroe because Milroe's running ability and throwing the football creates the opportunity for Ryan Williams. So, rarely do you go. I mean, Devontae won the Heisman over Mac Jones, but Milroe's running ability makes it a lot easier on Ryan Williams to do what he does, though that is an iconic play that will live forever with Alabama football. Dr. B brings us part of the show today. Dr. B's making your hair live forever.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that, though, quarterback money is different. Receiver money's gotten crazy, but there are more quarterback busts than a dominant receiver
There
bust.
are my fear, and if you're like Devontae Adams is about to do right now, if you get in a bad quarterback situation, you can always do free agency if you're a receiver.
Very true. Dr. B, our friend, pioneered the use of NeoGraft hair restoration in Alabama, remains at the forefront of hair preservation in the Southeast. Dr. B takes pride in treating each patient personally, applying his expertise to produce those quality results. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training in genetic testing, to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B and that great staff today. Schedule the consultation, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. For more information, t3hair.net.
And so much fun over at Talladega this week. Already campers out there. They were lined up last Wednesday to get to the campgrounds. So they're camping, full campgrounds going on. The infield opens up later today, or maybe it was earlier this morning, but opening up today to get the campers on the infield. And then you got everything happening this weekend, including the truck race, playoff race on Friday, Buckendega Rodeo Friday night, Jake Owen on Saturday after the Xfinity playoff race, Talladega Superspeedway Yellowwood 500 on Sunday, a playoff race. Upgrade the experience with the Cool Ray Garage Experience, immersive. Get inside the garages there. And don't forget, great discounts for kids. Some kids at a certain age get in for free. You get all the details, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, 877-GO-TO-DEGA. In the NFL, the Jaguars are the last winless team. Trevor Lawrence hasn't won since November 2023. They're talking about the coach getting fired. I don't think it's the coach's fault, but I guess
who is it?
I guess eventually he is the guy that gets fired.
Is it the quarterback?
Could be the quarterback.
Well, you just married him, so you can't fire him.
Yeah, it's an offensive coach, and it's a quarterback that has taken steps backwards.
How bad does that contract look in the offseason?
Oh, it looks awful.
Horrible. Kansas City has won 10 games in a row dating back to last year. Only one of those by double digits. They're now without Pacheco and Rice, with the Saints and the 49ers next 2 games up.
Yeah, look, if I'm Kansas City, just because you're in this window and you're going for a three-peat, I'm doing everything I can to offer up that second-round pick and try to get Devontae Adams. I'm sure
a lot of speculation is they will not do that in division, that the Raiders wouldn't do it in division.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everybody's
The Raiders
got a price.
have done some dumb things before.
Well, yeah, they have. It's probably a little higher asking price in division, though,
I
right?
think the Cowboys are going to take a long, hard look at Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams, yes. He is not long for this world. Yeah, if you're the Jets, I mean, you've pushed all the chips.
That's right. You got to do it almost if you're the Jets, because this offense for the Jets has not been good.
They have not, especially last week when they had 13 penalties, 8 of them on offense, 5 were false starts. Big debate going on between Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh on whether or not to use the hard count that Aaron Rodgers is known for. And every former NFL player who are retired now, nobody who's currently playing is talking, but former players like Jordy Nelson, Luke Kuechly, they're coming out saying that was the most vicious weapon when you played the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Jordy Nelson said, I cannot tell you how many free throws we had that ended up being touchdowns or deep plays to me because of Aaron Rodgers' hard count. Why would you want to not use that?
Yeah, I think lack of communication can kill a lot of different organizations. And I think what's going on right now with Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers, this is an example. I saw an interview with Aaron Rodgers, and he said, my cadence, I learned it from Brett Favre.
That's
I
right.
changed the terminology, but that's how long he's been doing
That was
this.
on McAfee yesterday, and he was like, in our first 3 games, we had 3 false starts, and nobody said a word. And only because they had a bunch of false starts against Denver in that loss, it has become an issue.
Yeah, that's
now.
just like a concentration.
Yeah. And by the way, you're losing to Denver. Denver's not a good football team. I mean,
They had -7 passing yards at halftime.
Yeah.
And they won that game.
Yeah, I mean, Bo Nix did throw his first pro touchdown, but you missed kicks and you lost to Denver. I just don't see how hard count is the focus coming out of that.
You mentioned Devontae Adams' trade. Since he entered the league in 2014, he's got 96 touchdown receptions. Second in the league to who's got 97.
What year?
2014 on.
2014 on, I will say that it is either DeAndre Hopkins or Stephon Diggs.
I actually got this right because he's on my team. Mike Evans with 97.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Mike Evans, he only catches touchdown passes, it seems. Tua's officially cleared.
I mean, that was, like I said yesterday, the speculation all along, because he went on the road trip to Seattle and because he's been visible on the sidelines, is that the only thing that is limiting him is the 4-week IR stint, which has got 2 more weeks in it now. So you would have to think in 2 weeks Tua is back and playing. If he's cleared, I just don't see how he's not.
Yeah, I mean, look, you want to see this, I guess, as a Dolphins fan, but at 1-3, your probability of making the postseason, much like my Rams, is less than 3% now.
Very low.
Just based on history.
Yeah. Of course, that history's a little different, more playoff teams now, so you've at least got that going for you. Maybe in Lance, maybe you're right. Maybe it just depends on what Miami does over these next 2 games. Like if they...
Well, I'll tell you this, Mike McDaniel's easy in there because it's going to become a situation that you and I have been talking about. Like the offense looks so bad, and I don't care if you start a backup quarterback at the 3rd string or a guy you just signed in Tyler Huntley. The offense has got to be better. You're an offensive guy.
Yeah. But Miami is 1-3. They're at New England and at Indianapolis. Obviously, they're NFL games, so they're very losable games.
But
and I
very
think
winnable.
both those are very winnable games, even with the bad backup situation. But, Jim, if you're 1-5 and your next game's at Buffalo, do you bring Tua back for that?
Or why does he sit down and figure out his future health-wise, I don't know. 1-5, hard to bring him back and risk it.
I think he's going to want to play even if it's 1-5. But even if he wants to play at 1-5 as the franchise, do you say, yeah, come on back? I mean, pretty much we've got to win almost all the rest of our games to make the playoffs.
NFL cranks back up on Thursday night. Do we have a good Thursday night game this week? I hadn't even looked
not
ahead.
in college. I mean, we got Texas State, Troy, Sam Houston, and Utah.
No, I haven't looked ahead to the NFL games. What I was talking about.
Give me a second.
Thursday night's going to be what it is in college, but
I got it right here. It's your team. How do you not know your team's playing?
I hadn't looked ahead on the schedule yet. We take them one at a time.
One at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a division game?
Yeah, it's against the Falcons.
Bucks
fantastic.
Falcons. Oh, Falcons coming off a last second win.
You want to go? You want to go over there and watch the game? If I can get us 2 tickets, leave after the show. Forrester?
No, Jim. We got
volleyball. I'm sure Scott's got volleyball somewhere. He's got to.
Boy, these kids get in the way, don't they?
They do.
We got a volleyball match, and little one's got cheerleading at a game.
Did you watch any of Saints Falcons?
Yeah.
I told Forrester. I texted Forrester. I said,
Young Ho, man.
Oh, Young Ho's a player now.
58 yards.
But I told Forrester, Scotty, I said, it is criminal if y'all ever wear another home uniform than the one you had on against the Saints.
The red helmet is
the red
key.
helmet's your best, man.
They will. They will wear it. The bad one again. All right, one more college thing before.
By the way, 3 really good primetime marquee games. Not only your Bucks and his Falcons, but Sunday night you've got Cowboys, Steelers, and then Monday night Saints and Chiefs.
Yeah, Saints and Chiefs on Monday night. MyBookie with all the lines. You get the plays there. Tell us about the MyBookie odds, Brown, and then LT will tell us about New York Butcher.
MyBookie.ag, code next round. That is where you go. Code next round at MyBookie.ag. I'll give you a live, as I'm talking about it, update on the state teams, the University of Alabama. Currently a 23-point favorite on the road in an active construction site. Smallest, I saw this, non-COVID, smallest crowd Alabama will play in front of, I think, it was like an insane amount of time. I don't know if you guys saw that number. This will be one of the smallest crowds Alabama ever plays in front of.
Well, I thought they were through with construction.
No, still got some stuff closed for construction, unfortunately, over there. But they're making progress. No construction in Georgia and Athens, where Auburn's a 24-point underdog for that game. You can play those games at mybookie.ag. Code next round. When you sign on at mybookie.ag, you make your initial deposit. They bonus that same amount too, so they double your deposit right there, okay? That is free money. You play with it right away. Win once with it. It is yours and yours forever. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Code next round to get that double deposit bonus. mybookie.ag. Code next round.
And our friends at New York Butcher, as I said.
Yeah, great place to stop in. We were in there on Monday and picked up some steak, some of those great mashed potatoes. The sides are fantastic. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop. Go see Jim and his incredible staff. Pick up the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all natural chicken cut to order just for you. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
What was that live spread odds for Alabama?
23. 23 and a half, somewhere in there.
Right now, if you had to play it right now, you taking Vandy in the points, you taking Alabama given the points?
I am taking Bama, and I'm giving them, but I don't feel good about this game.
I don't sense a letdown. I would take Alabama lay the 23 right now.
Go ahead.
I think this Alabama team has shown you that they showed in that game that they haven't shown you everything they can do. Well, now that they've shown everything they can do, I think the playbook even opens up more.
Kane Womack talking about just mentally how you don't how you don't have a letdown. You avoid it. Here he is.
We've got to do a great job of going from a game that had a lot of attention and a lot of momentum swings and found a way to win, to do the same thing over and over again. Success, naturally, if you allow it, will breathe complacency into your program, and you have to fight to be able to play to the standard week in and week out, and that's certainly going to be the challenge for us this week.
Do you think he's just reading old Nick Saban news conferences?
I just found this stuff in my office. It seems like I should use it in a news conference somewhere. We spend a lot of time around Saban, I guarantee you.
I am shocked that we are a month into the season, and there hasn't been any negative comments on either one of the coordinators. And I just thought even if Alabama somehow was undefeated, there would have to be somebody kind of picking and saying, I don't like this, I don't like that. But that's a compliment to that entire staff. And hard to believe, but the 41 they scored against Georgia is a season low. So not only is Kalen DeBoer now the number one team in the nation, his low offensive output was 41 against Georgia.
I'm also smart enough to know they were a 75-yard completion for a touchdown away from everything being picked apart.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
In that program.
And not being able to burn the clock.
Everything.
I talked to Alabama fan yesterday. She was like, my husband was so pissed about that game. And after it, he was like, is this how we're going to have to win games now?
How we're going to have to win games? You're playing the number one
they
team in
won
the country.
42 straight.
Yeah, I know.
Ashton Jeanty, who you guys bring up all the time with Boise, he's averaging 211 yards per game. 211 yards per game. If he continues that average, he ends up with 2,535 yards for the season. Sadly, that would only make him the fourth best rushing season ever, which is
That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Hard to believe. I mean, was this some random, like the kid that played in Indiana years ago, one of the kids at Temple?
Nope, nobody random. Barry Sanders has the record, 1998, 2,628 rushing yards in 1998. Number 2 was Melvin Gordon in 2014 at Wisconsin, 2,587. A little random in Kevin Smith at UCF in 2007. That was George O'Leary's UCF team, 2,567. Jeanty would slot in right behind him, right ahead of Marcus Allen, 2,342 yards rushing in 1981 against USC.
Now, did you do these projections on a 12 team or a 12-game schedule?
Yeah, that would be
Well, remember, Boise's got a great shot of playing in the Mountain West championship game and then playing in the college football playoff. So if he plays 14, he's got a legitimate shot. I don't know. I don't see defenses.
They don't do bowl games or playoffs in the NCAA.
Oh, I thought they did.
No, they changed that.
Yeah, they changed it.
Yeah, that's what killed Ron Dane. Because Danes don't count because it was before they changed it. Yeah, NCAA, they now recognize postseason games.
So do we go back with Barry Sanders and those guys and change it?
Nope. They didn't go back and change anybody's, which is stupid.
So I do think Jeanty's got a really good chance at this, and especially I don't know defenses that could completely shut him down. Oregon's got a pretty good defense, and he went for 203 touchdowns on the road against those guys.
And if you have not watched him, it is not a fluke. This guy is so fast when he hits the corner.
It almost reminds me of, like, remember Deuce McAllister when he was doing crazy stuff at Ole Miss? But it's like a Deuce McAllister in a more physical.
Deuce McAllister with Alvin Kamara's speed, almost. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, to use two Saints guys. They play Utah State. If you want to watch them, 6 o'clock, FS2, not even FS1, FS2, Saturday night. I encourage you to go watch Ashton Jeanty if you have not. This kid's incredible.
And I didn't mean Deuce McAllister. Who was the other kid for Ole Miss that was really good running back under Houston Nutt? Wasn't McAllister. Was more the zigzagger running back. I thought he was a Deuce, though. I don't know. Anyway.
I can't remember. So Jeanty projected into some rare air with the Barry Sanders, Melvin Gordons, and Marcus Allens of the world. We'll get to trash when we come back on the other side. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's. World famous fried chicken, champyschicken.com. Go check out the menu there. Start off like we do with a little Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's a great appetizer. The fried chicken is brined overnight, cooked to order, comes out piping hot, hand-cut chicken fingers, all perfect tailgating food, but open for lunch right now. Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's champyschicken.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239 Equal Housing Lender.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Rays, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
We continue on the next round. Was Dexter McCluster who you were thinking of?
Yeah, that's who it was.
Dexter McCluster. A lot of that in the mybookie.ag chat room and apparently on text as well. Some people thought maybe Deuce Staley is who you were thinking of. It was not Deuce Staley, former Eagles and South Carolina running back.
No. If you saw Deuce right now, you would never believe. If you
he
like
wasn't that fast.
No, the all-time backfield right now might be Heupel at quarterback, Deuce Staley at running back, Mark Ingram at running back.
Guys you never thought
you look at those guys
now.
Yeah, you'd be like 4th of July. I'd see them on Coney Island. The Nathan's contest.
Not playing in the SEC.
Me on play-by-play, and we'll get somebody else in the chain gang down there. Storm Restoration Roofing. That's Greg from Pell City. All the devastation around the country over the storm that blew through. There are a lot of people that are trying to help, that genuinely want to help, but sadly, whether you're up in the Carolinas or Georgia or down in Florida, there are people that come in and try to take advantage of you with scams or do shoddy work when they do that kind of stuff. That's why I always tell you to have this number, this guy on standby right now, to where if those type storms or any kind of storm blows through our area, you've got a trustworthy name to go to. Greg from Pell City, Greg Nelson, Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. 542-3531. He does storm repairs, roof replacement. He's a guy that will help you get your home back in place so the insurance inspectors can come out and take a look at it. Insurance agents trust him. He gives you a free no-cost roof inspection. All you have to do is call the number 205-542-3531. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, locally owned for over 20 years. Again, it's a free no-cost roof inspection. Even when there's not a storm in the area, he'll take care of you. 205-542-3531 or Greg from Pell City right there on Facebook. Jimmy Carter turned 100 yesterday, 100 years old.
God, if you would have said living or dead, I would have gone dead.
Well, there were reports that were false reports. I don't know if it was just like some internet joke that he had passed recently, so it might have been why you thought that. You
like
think
DeMar Hamlin?
Yeah. You think he stayed up and watched the Braves last night? Big Braves guy.
Maybe listened to it on radio.
Could have, for old time's sake.
John Amos passed away this week, 84 years old, known for his characters on Good Times and Roots.
It is
later on West Wing.
Yeah,
Coming to America, McDowell.
I know, that's what I saw.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. My daughter.
Die Hard 2.
So random you brought that movie up. My little one Hallie asked me, "Is that a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell her yes. I'll tell her Tyler said yes.
You have
She's
to
gonna
have
be further confused by this.
You have to have the palate for Tim Burton.
Yeah, I'm not a big Tim Burton guy myself.
I like some of his stuff.
But how about the fact that King Joffrey and McDowell died within 15 days of each other? What was it, King? What is it? Joffrey on Coming to America that James Earl Jones played.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember.
You sound like you were trying to do a Game of Thrones character for a second, but that may have been his name.
It was King. I can't remember do you remember what it was, Tyler?
Remember John Amos? They
what
killed
his
him
name
off
was.
of Good Times. Remember, he had a massive heart attack.
Yeah, and I, as a kid, I thought the guy had actually died, right?
Contract dispute. We'll write him off. Oh, you don't want to show up for work, John?
Okay.
Not a problem. Florida will handle this whole family herself.
King Joffrey is his name. And Cleo McDowell. They died within a couple of weeks of one another. Two great characters.
Yeah, and what's his name? The comedian with the big head, the picket fence teeth. It's the guy that was behind the counter. He's dead too.
Louis Anderson.
Yeah, Louis Anderson.
Woo! Yeah, man. That movie's falling apart.
I was about to say John Candy, but no. Louis Anderson is the answer there. All right, so those were some celebrity news. We got the rest of things going on. We'll talk about the changing college football bracketology, how it looks different after an Ole Miss loss and a Georgia loss. Coming up after trash that goes right now. Tyler, hit the big button.
That didn't upset me. But the bitch-ass hoe that told me to calm down, what I'd like you to do is apologize instead of being a bitch.
You're calling me sorry, but you're calling me a bitch. So set an example.
I'm sorry. My kids can't hear me calling you a bitch.
Your window's open.
They can't hear me because they're listening to Kids Spot.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, how often do you guys see something that reminds you of taste or smell?
Like I see it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
an
you can
interesting
taste
question.
it or smell it?
Well, just because Aaron Suttles just walked down the hall, and I smell and taste bourbon every time I see him.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I know we're recording here in 20 minutes, but I really do. Every time I see Suttles, I think bourbon.
That's pretty funny.
Okay, so trash always brought to you by our friends, the mortgage experts, Mortgage Right. Whether you're buying your first house or final house, these are the guys. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. 205-900-7200, mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender. Okay, I'm wrong on a lot of things. I didn't think Pat Mahomes would even be close to what he is in the NFL.
Yep.
And when we first did a story on this, I thought it would be out of business within 6 months. But the Sport Bra, their success has created an opportunity to branch out into multiple franchises. After 2.5 years in Portland, the bar, which exclusively televises and promotes women's sports, ready to expand to other cities. And according to this release, quote, the Sports Bra has proven to be a lot bigger than just four walls of our bar and restaurant. It's found a place in a movement that takes women's sports to a whole new level. This according to Jenny Gwen, the founder and CEO of the Sports Bra. She said this in a press release. We are now taking the next big step. It is time to invite others to join our team, the Sports Bra, to communities across the country, LFG, all caps. I can't.
I really can't believe. Now, there's no way they have stuck by only showing women's sports. They've got to show other things because women's sports aren't live all the time.
Right.
But like when I was watching SportsCenter this morning, they got into a deep dive at WNBA, and that's when I hit mute.
They're in the playoffs right now, right?
And I started returning a couple of texts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're in the playoffs.
Oh, Tyler's got a phone. There's the sports bro. Or Scott does, excuse me. I remember we had a member of our audience that went and sent us video from there. And he's like, it's not that bad, Lance. It's not that bad.
I mean, are you guys shocked that it's...
yes.
Yeah. I didn't think there was a chance in the world this thing would work.
Yeah. Well, maybe, good for them. Like, again, I don't know how you only show women's sports. They're not on all the time. But if you want to focus on women's sports, like... when the WNBA is playing and there's also an NFL game on, WNBA is going to get most of the TVs.
Yeah, but like, I've invested in some dumb things before. I've made some mistakes. You live and learn.
Sure.
But if somebody would have come to you and been like, hey, man, I have got this concept, and I think it is a game changer.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. For one thing, we got a lot of sports
you think it was gonna work?
bars already.
No, I didn't think it was going to work because I thought it was too, you want to be a mass communicator. You also want to, do a service for the masses. When you limit anybody, I think that's not smart business. It's not really good capitalism.
I mean, even ESPN, the sports bar doesn't work. Like, it's out of business.
But recently, Dunaway, I was in an actual sports bar.
Yep.
Not one of our sponsors. This is just recent. And it frustrated me. There were things on I wanted to watch, but none of the staff is paying attention to what's on the TVs. They're doing a million other different things.
You forget after a while that the TVs are there. If you work there, you're worried about getting the wings up or the fries up or seating the next people. You forget hey, I don't have the right game on that's starting at the right time. Earlier this year when they first were starting to consider this movement of spreading it out, I think it shocked us that they were going to do that. And don't you have to, at that point, have other people that... I mean, if it's one person that starts this one bar, that's one thing. But now you got to have, what are they called, franchisees or people that buy a franchise? That's what really is in crazy.
As we gave them credit, though, excellent name for a women's sports bar. That is where they hit it out of the park. The sports bra is an incredible name.
What about if it would have been iron your own shirt?
That's their special.
Make your own sandwich.
Welcome to Out of the Kitchen.
So, do you guys like bologna?
Yeah, I haven't had it in a while, but I do like bologna.
Yeah, I'm weird. There's a great place in Nashville, Franklin, and Coleman. Figured out that it's too thick. I love their sandwich, but I want it to be a thinner piece of bologna.
Yeah, there's a place near here that does one of those. Have you had it just down the road here? And you swore you'd never go back.
It's too thick.
Their bologna is so thick, and I'm like, this would be good, but that's too thick.
Yeah, so I asked them the last time I was in that place, I said, this is going to be a weird request, but can you thin out the thickness of the bologna? I wanted a little crunchier and a little thinner.
What'd they say?
They said they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, customer service is dead. Now, they'll flip that around and they'll want you to tip, $5 because they're going to hand you a drink.
and you know what I did? I was like, can you tell me how much I owe for this Diet Coke here? I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here.
No, you didn't. You asked them to slice the bologna. They wouldn't do it, so you left?
Go ahead and finish my drive up to Huntsville.
Just tell me how you would have handled this morning. So I stop at a smoothie place to get an acai bowl.
I saw that.
And smoothie, they've got some Regal tea in their name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I walk in, and I order what I order, and they're making it. I sit down. I get out the laptop because I was going to do some work there, and I was like, what's your password? And she was like, I'm going to have to wait for whoever to come back, and I'll get it for you. So I sit there for 3-4 minutes. She comes back. She's like, hey, what's the password? I don't know it. So I stand up, and I was like, well, is there anybody that can get it? We don't have the password. I said, well, can you get me the manager? I'm the manager. I said, so you're the manager, but you don't know the password? She was like, well, the password works back in our office. I was like, but as a customer, that doesn't help me. Then the girl goes, oh, by the way, we don't have peanut butter. Can I give you hazelnut? And I was like, well, I want peanut butter. And she was like, our trucks are late. This is when the manager steps up. We don't have peanut butter. We can give you a refund or you can take hazelnut.
Woo! That accelerated.
Yeah.
I noticed you still were in
and
there.
And I said, who is the franchisee here? Like, do you have a number? I have no idea who the franchisee is. So you don't know the Wi-Fi. You don't know who the franchisee is.
Well trained.
You don't have peanut butter.
And just mean as a snake.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think I've had that lady. Is it the one near us?
Oh, freaking troll over here.
Yeah. I think I've had her. Yeah.
Oh, she's still working.
I don't know. She is mean, though. I've seen her be mean before.
Back to the bologna. A woman was fined after officers seized over 700 pounds of illegal bologna hidden within her suitcases.
That's a lot of bologna.
Now,
Can
officers-
you imagine
How
what that
quick-
smelled like?
How quick does it go bad?
Well, here's the problem. Now, the officers from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection became suspicious when a 43-year-old female U.S. citizen crossing the border from Mexico declared nothing more than a cooked meal. Secondary inspection uncovered multiple suitcases, which, quote, seemed heavier than normal. Now, upon opening the suitcases, officers found 40 rolls of Mexican pork bologna, which is illegal in the U.S. due to Mexican pork's potential to spread foreign animal diseases to the U.S. pork industry. Not only that, 200 boxes of undeclared prescription medicines. They also found $7,600 in concealed currency. The woman was fined $1,000, and that 748 pounds of bologna destroyed.
I'm with Greg from Pell City in the mybookie.ag chat room. How the hell is bologna illegal?
Well, because it's Mexican pork.
Yeah, there's not the same FDA regulations on how you kill the pig, chop up the pig, and make bologna. So.
I love a Mexican Coke. I don't know if I want Mexican pork, though. Of course, I probably eat the chorizo from these taco trucks all the time.
That's exactly right. I just got to say that bologna. Is that the actual photo, Tyler?
Yeah.
That's not a stock photo. That's legit looking bologna.
So you guys believe that the chorizo you're eating from the taco trucks are not coming from Mexico? You think it's coming from Mexico?
Oh,
It's not coming from the USA?
I mean, everything else is.
Yeah, it's coming from the United States.
So you know that?
FDA approved. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everything's FDA approved
Well,
here.
I mean, just the price point. You're not going to be able to ship.
Well, somebody's bringing this in for a reason, right? I mean, well, she wasn't bringing it in to eat herself.
I think they were scamming us with money and drugs, and they were hiding it either in the bologna or under the bologna to get it in.
That was not it. Again, she said that all she had was a cooked meal. She didn't even try to because she knew the bologna was illegal bringing it in.
That looks legit to me. I'd eat that bologna. I'm just telling you.
Are you guys fans of the crumble cookies?
I'm fans.
Are they a sponsor?
No,
they're not.
I am not.
Which one's the really big one?
Crumble's the one where they spell the name wrong.
Yeah.
Both of them, I
it's a
think.
lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
So there apparently are none in Australia. So they decided to do a cookie crumble pop-up store. And people got really pissed off. Now, the pop-up organizers sought to bring in the cult favorite cookies to select people in Sydney by importing a massive order of cookies from the U.S. for nearly $6,000. Attendees were subjected to pay over $12 U.S. dollars for a cookie, nearly double the price. One cookie crumble cookie in the U.S., which is usually $5.49. For 5 cookies, customers were paying $51.71.
Are you kidding me? $10 a cookie?
And even worse, because they brought them in for the U.S., they were stale.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a discount if you bought more. If you just wanted the one cookie, you're paying $17.50.
$17.50. Oh, I see it now. One is $17.50. So I got the 5 for $51 or one for $17.50.
Or a 10-pack for $150 Australian dollars.
I'll tell you this, though, Tyler. It looks like they got a line.
That's true.
Oh, it was wrapped around the block because they all thought that it was fresh, real crumble cookies.
Oh.
Yeah, I will go ahead and tell you, I've run into, I get them confused, the two that are near our house, and I think I told the story on July 4th. I was going to my friend Courtney and Tony's, and Tony, I was like, "Hey, can I bring a couple of 12 packs of beer? Can I bring a case of beer to the party?" And he was like, "No, I got beer. Just swing by and pick up, if you will, a dozen crumble cookies."
You lost money on
And
that deal.
I got there. I did. I
You
walked
did,
in.
100%.
I walked in. I said, "Dude, next time, just let me buy the freaking beer."
I'll bring a keg.
Yeah. I mean, it was insanity for cookies.
good throw.
And the reason they're delicious, don't get me wrong. The reason I don't like it, I like smaller, thinner, crunchier cookies,
Well,
and these are not them.
so the
I
two
just
you're-
like paying less than $5.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
with Tyler on that. $5 for a whole pack. The two you're confusing. One is kind of melted in the middle, and it's super doughy in the middle.
But I don't like those.
I don't like that.
And then one is really big, and it's just a lot. You got to cut it up into several pieces.
Don't like that one either.
Look, I think SNL lost its fastball a long time ago, but this sounds like a funny skit. Didn't obviously see it, but Spirit Halloween, you guys are familiar with the pop-up stores.
I am.
They had a good response to SNL's parody of the chain. Now, during the season 50 premiere of Saturday Night Live on September 28th, long-running sketch comedy show Pug Fun. It's Spirit Halloween in its short-lived nature. The tongue-in-cheek skit appears to be an uplifting commercial, painting the retailer as a business to turn around, quote, dead-end communities. Cast members went on to say, quote, "We don't see a dead-end town. We don't see an abandoned Kmart. We see a Spirit Halloween. Since 1983, Spirit Halloween has been helping our struggling communities by setting up shop in every vacant building in the country for 6 weeks, then bouncing. And thanks to us, what used to be a condemned auto zone where a murder happened is once again a thriving business where a murder happened. Now, the Halloween chain responded to this parody on X on Monday, September 30th. Quote, "We are great at raising things back from the dead," featuring an image of the Spirit Halloween-themed SNL costume, an irrelevant 50-year-old TV show.
So that's their shot there at SNL.
Yes. One of my favorite Spirit Halloween memes was the day the Pac-12, all the Pac-12 teams left to go to the Big Ten. Somebody had a photo of the Rose Bowl with the Spirit Halloween sign on it. So good.
Well, part of that skit, too, young customer comes in and asks for a Taylor Swift costume and receives one labeled blonde singing woman.
That's what it would have to be, because she would demand it for the rights.
We have got a top 10 coolest actors ever by Ranker.com here.
Oh, okay.
Number 10, Jeff Bridges. I'm a Jeff Bridges fan.
What's his?
True Grit,
probably.
Crazy Heart won Best Actor.
Big Lebowski is the one that is incredibly overrated.
It is overrated. And I'm a Coen Brothers guy, but it's so overrated. But Against All Odds, way back in the day, the original Tron. I mean, Jeff Bridges has done a ton of work. Number 9 on the list, Hugh Jackman.
I don't watch the comic book movie, so what have I seen him in?
Swordfish.
Swordfish? He's been around that long?
Yeah, he was in it with Halle Berry.
Yep, he was.
Okay,
yeah, Hugh Jackman's been in a million things.
Okay.
A lot of musicals too, man.
Yeah.
Greatest Showman on Earth.
Oh, I've seen that. The Greatest Showman. Yeah.
Now, does Hugh swing from the left side every now and then?
I don't know. I haven't studied him.
Heard that's a possibility. Number 8 on the list, Samuel L. Jackson. Got to be approaching 80, by the way.
He's been in so many things, it'd be hard to narrow it down.
I do agree that Samuel L. Jackson, pretty cool character. Yeah. Number 7, Sam Elliott, one of the greatest voices of all time.
Love him and Gronk talking insurance, man.
They are. He's a military man.
I like how, I mean, you put Sam Elliott in a Western, and it's 100% believable.
Yeah, number 6 on the list, Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some good Harrison Ford roles. Blade Runner, maybe my favorite. Witness was great. Number 5 on the list, Denzel Washington.
Oh, of course. American Gangster.
There he is.
Yeah.
Alonzo.
Yeah. I when we brought up Denzel the other day, I did not mention American Gangster. I talked about Man on Fire. But that and American Gangster is probably a tie for me on his roles.
I told you, Jack had Gold Day a couple of weeks ago for Homecoming. I was like, you need to dress just like Alonzo here.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Number 4 on the list, Sean Connery.
Oh, yeah. I like me some Sean Connery.
Yeah, look how cool he was as Bond back in the day.
I liked him in Hunt for Red October. Fantastic role.
Number 3, I'm a big fan of Morgan Freeman, but I've never seen any coolness to Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, I mean, coolness, I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, number 2 on the list, Clint Eastwood.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, Clint. And number 1 on the list, Keanu Reeves.
Here he's a nice guy, too. Makes it even better.
Big Keanu fan.
Yeah.
And finally, here on Trash Today, do you think if you are one of the richest Americans, let me ask you this. If you guys have $1 billion, are you one of the richest Americans out there?
Oh, yeah, with $1 billion.
I'd be in the conversation.
Forbes has listed their 400 richest Americans. $1 billion is not going to get you there. Not even $3 billion.
Man, that doesn't get me in
this year, the 400 wealthiest people in the U.S. are all worth at least $3.3 billion. It shows you where our society is right now, because the extremes right now with people struggling literally to make ends meet, and you have over 400 people that have a net worth of at least $3.3 million.
Crazy.
Here are 2 poor billionaires that didn't make the list. Oprah Winfrey, estimated net worth $3 billion, was not one of the top 400 wealthiest people in America. Kim Kardashian, $1.7 billion, not there. Taylor Swift, $1.3 billion, not there. Magic Johnson, $1.2 billion, not there.
Wow.
And Schwarzenegger is worth $1 billion now, not there.
Wow. They don't make the top 400?
Yeah.
I mean, if you had said Oprah Winfrey, top 400 richest Americans,
Has to be.
Easy. Top 400? She's top 100. Nope.
Yeah, Oprah may be the most surprising one of them all, followed
She's
by Taylor and
printed
Magic
money.
with all of Magic's business dealings.
Oprah's printed money and never been married, I don't think. So there's no divorce or anything.
That's crazy. And that's Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, if you are looking for advice on buying your first home or your final home, whether you need a big down payment or 100% financing, our friends at Mortgage Right can lead you in the right direction. 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com/TNR.
And, of course, our friends at NASCAR, still time to get tickets all the way through the race weekend at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, or 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Check our social media out. We got some pretty cool content over the next couple of days as Brown and I compete in some weird games over at the track yesterday. You can see that at Next Round Live, Get those tickets right now. And don't forget the rodeo on Friday, the Jake Owen concert on Saturday, and playoff races on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the Yellowwood 500, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Forrester, if you can, is there a bracketology you have from someone? I know it's hard to find these sometimes, but every week people kick out bracketology, and this is from Andy Staples on 3. All of a sudden, that graphic we saw all summer that didn't change a whole lot changed a lot. There's Alabama in the 1 hole with a bye, Ohio State hanging in the 2 hole. Clemson is now the logo in the 3 hole out of the ACC, and look who's in the 4 hole out of the Big 12.
And so you got to put in there them or Iowa State. Some people had in there.
Yeah,
recently.
that would be pretty incredible.
Yeah.
BYU is there. Now, Georgia falls a little bit to a 7 seed right now. Texas is the 5 with UNLV. Tennessee's a 6 with Kansas State at 11. Georgia's a 7 with a 10 seed Miami. And Oregon right now at 8 with a conference game against Penn State in round 1. Go ahead.
I was going to say, how much would you like Alabama's draw right here? If you were Alabama and you've got the 8-9 winner of Oregon, Penn State, you've got Brigham Young in the other part of the bracket, Texas, UNLV, that's a heck of a draw right there.
Yeah, to get you that championship game. And if you'll notice, the first 4 out has Missouri, Arizona, Utah, and Notre Dame. Is there a logo that's missing there all of a sudden for you guys?
Ole Miss.
It is Ole Miss.
Yep, not in there.
The scripted Ole Miss
Boy, I
is
feel in a hurry.
1 loss, and there are people doubting them. And then the group of 5 contenders outside of UNLV, there's Army, there's Navy. And I remember us all saying, well, Army and Navy, we don't care if they play the Army-Navy game after Selection Sunday.
What's it matter?
Because they'll never factor in.
I know.
Oh, contraire, Mofware. They're right there.
Mofware.
That was close.
Yeah.
So that's the college football bracketology. It looks so different after just 1 weekend, and it will change a lot from this point on. That's our show today. Don't forget, a Bama and Bourbon drops a little bit later on today after LT and Aaron knock it out here in a second on the recording. Constant coverage at covercrimson.com, covercrimson.com, and they're talking about Deuce Knight's recruitment over at thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Go check those out and subscribe right now. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.